Talk about a cyberpunk dystopia, man.
I know. At least, okay, if we're gonna have like AI and
Yeah, yeah.
cyberpunk shit, do it for something fucking cool. Like drive my car for me. And I know we're gonna talk about driving cars and not wanting to drive and shit. I say that all the fucking time.
Oh, yeah. I think Elon Musk's working on that, so we'll have to see how he gets on.
The cars, yeah, yeah, him and Google, yeah.
Yeah. How come you don't like driving? I meant to ask. I mean, because I
Why
hate
don't I like
driving.
driving? Okay, we're definitely
Yeah,
gonna leave this in the podcast then, because so why don't I like driving? Because I just don't like it. It's like if I
yeah,
I mean, I could give a deeper answer than that, but I feel like I'd have to be inventing someone. I don't like the
yeah, yeah,
I don't like the lack of being fully in control. I trust myself to drive. I learned how to drive. I know how to drive. I trust myself to
yeah,
drive. Although I'd be rusty and shit at it at this point. I don't trust everyone else. I'm going to
yeah.
say like 5 times a day I'll see someone not indicate and just change lanes and just do weird shit. Like people don't drive very safely. And
No,
I don't 100% like being in the middle of that. I also find I don't like that you have to be fully
yeah,
paying
yeah,
attention while you're driving. I like to just be able to chill and sit back and listen to music or stare out the window or have a nap or do something like that. I like outsourcing
yeah,
driving to someone else. Uber's fucking cheap. Yeah, I don't know. I just got to the point where I learned how to drive and I was like, I don't like this. Like, I don't enjoy this. And there's no need for me to do this. Public transport's fucking amazing in most of the cities here, even
yeah.
in the smaller cities like where I am right now. And if there's any gaps, I'll just get Uber. Or my girlfriend can drive. Here's the trick: you just only date women that'll drive you around everywhere. That's how you do it.
Yeah, been there myself, man.
Mm.
I think for me, really, I've got a driving license. I do drive a bit. Well, first of all, I got hit by a truck when I was
Oh,
learning.
fuck me. Fuck me. No.
Yeah, yeah, ripped the car off, man. Total write off. And the second one for me was with the job I did, just all the crashes and stuff I saw.
Yeah.
Like you're talking dead kids
You're
and people
seeing
getting
bad
mangled.
crashes too in that job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll just lie in bed at night and think of that kind of shit.
Yeah.
It does. Some of it does still sit with you, but you know,
They give you
and
counseling and shit like that?
not really, to be
That
honest
fucking
with you.
sucks, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of felt like it was empty promises, like promises were made, not really
Yeah.
kept. I mean, I saw somebody get shot as well. That wasn't very nice. Which is quite difficult. But yeah,
It's
it's
not
just
at
all
all
these
like the
things.
movies, is it? Like in the movies, it's
No.
like, oh, this guy got shot, oh, a crash, and then in real life, it's like
Yeah.
you're confronted with the fact that like this was a human being, their body doesn't look the way it's supposed to look. Like your mind goes like something's fucking wrong here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And it's hard talking to people who like if they haven't been in that situation, like they don't understand
yeah,
and that kind of stuff. And which is why I see like a lot of war vets when they come back from the war and stuff, and they say like civilians don't understand. I can relate to that to some degree.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
Fuck
no,
me.
I'm doing a lot better than I have been. Found that like leaving the job, it was really good for my mental health.
Hmm.
Because I mean that kind of sent me a bit funny for a couple of years. I mean I've been there with depression and stuff, and been to the counselling myself, which I had to pay for. But yeah, which kind of sucked. But I'm doing a lot better than I was. I'm slowly climbing
Mate,
out the hole.
I've had this discussion with friends, and I've had this discussion with Imogen as well. I think
Yeah.
there are certain jobs, police officer is one of them, paramedic, a lot of things in a
Firefighters,
hospital,
yeah,
firefighters, counsel, like criminal counselors, criminal defense
yeah, yeah,
lawyers, um, prosecutors, any of that kind of stuff. Anyone who has to deal with like, heaven forbid, anything to do with like pedophilia, like you're a police officer investigating that shit, or like breaking up child sex rings, slavery, any
yeah,
of
yeah,
that kind of shit. I feel like those screen out the people who you're the only people who stay in those jobs for long enough are people who are able to dissociate really well, or maybe have a little bit of psychopathy in them that they can just be like, it's okay, it's I'm going to dissociate from it and distance myself from it.
yeah,
Those are
yeah,
fucking brutal jobs, dude. Because at some point you're just continually staring into the abyss and seeing maybe the worst or some of the worst that humanity has to offer. Maybe you're just
yeah,
seeing the worst that life itself has to offer, and you're staring at that for so long. You need such a balance outside of that. I think you can
yeah,
you can do well in those jobs if you have a balance, which is why I think like counseling or something is fucking mandatory. Should just be part of the job, regardless of how well you say you're doing. It's like once a week they should make you fucking sit down with someone and just be like, how's it going? Like even if you just chat and shoot the shit and everything's fine, fine.
Oh, yeah,
But like, that's
absolutely.
got to be fucking mandatory in those jobs, dude. You're just staring into the abyss so much that it's like, fuck me. I don't know how your soul can, like, kudos for you for doing that, but like, I don't know how your soul
Cheers, man.
can hang in there.
Oh yeah, and this is like I find it really hard to just keep my work and my home life separate. I felt like I was bringing my work home
Yeah, man.
and stuff, and yeah, you can't switch off from it. Like, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
you're always just zoning out and stuff, and you see things that remind you of that kind of shit. You know, I mean, I joined when I was 18. You know, I was just a kid, really. You know, because
Yeah.
you can join at 18 in this country.
And you think you're fucking bulletproof.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'll be fine. If I see a bad car crash or
Yeah.
someone gets shot, I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't give a fuck. And then you see it and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck. It's like I've read so many stories and books and listened to people's. I love listening to the Jocko Willink podcast because he gets like war
Yeah, I love
veterans on
Jocko.
there and shit. Yeah, man. And like so many of them go like, I'm going to sign up at 18. Hey, you got your watch, your 4 a.m.
Yeah,
watch.
Jocko watch, man.
So anyone listening won't be able to see what you just held up. Jocko Willink is famous for getting up at 4 a.m. and he has a very specific watch. And is that the same watch that you've got that he has?
Newer model. Yeah, it's a new one.
Yeah, it looks basically the same. And you do get up at like 4:30. I've seen it. You post a picture.
Yeah.
You crazy
Yeah.
fuck. But
Yeah, I'm insane.
you are fucking insane. We'll talk about that in a second. But on his podcast, he has like war veterans on there. And hearing the stories and shit, like you think you're fucking bulletproof when you sign up for the army. You do. Every man goes in there with that arrogance. You know, I'm bulletproof. I'm going to save the world. I'm going to save my fucking country. I'm going to shoot all the bad guys. I don't give a fuck. And then it's like you every single time they get hit with that first like actual bit of combat, that first contact with the enemy, they're all fucked up from it. They're like, oh shit, like I nearly died today, or my friend fucking got shot and nearly died, or heaven forbid he did fucking die. Like this isn't a game, and it's like, no, it's fucking life.
Everybody's got a plan until the bullets start flying. You know, trust me, I know
That's
that.
like the Mike Tyson quote, right? You butchered.
Everybody's got a plan until everybody's got
until you get punched in the face. Yeah,
yeah. I hope he didn't copyright it, or I'm in the shit.
He probably did, bro. He'll come and fucking kill you. Although he's nice now.
Yeah, didn't he get done for rape years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember saying about that. Yeah,
he went to jail for a while. Yeah. Bit someone's ear.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, he bit someone's ear off, and then he raped that girl. Yeah,
he's pretty chill these days now. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him go off on reporters and stuff like on YouTube and that, but no, he seems to have mellowed out a bit in his old age. Yeah, probably doesn't want to go back to prison.
Speaking of mellowed out in their old age, you've mellowed out a little bit recently. So you've been posting every single day in your log. I've actually enjoyed watching them reading them for selfish reasons. So you post every day on the forums, and here's why I like reading them. Okay, I like reading because you take action. 2, you're very introspective, and then 3, just from a purely selfish point of view, every day you listen to 1 or 2 of my podcasts and you say what you got out of it, and it's been this weird for me, a weird nostalgic like trip down memory lane. Because you like will talk about the podcast, you'll say, hey, I listened to this episode, Andy talked about blah, 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 here's what I got out of it. And I'm like, I forgot I fucking recorded that. And I remember like where I was at that time or what I was going through or whether I was like depressed or I was drinking alcohol for a lot of, because you're listening to some of the early ones. And it's like, I remember how, the fears I had, the things I overcame. This is like a year and a half ago that I was recording these. It's been this nice, weird, nostalgic trip down memory lane for me. So I guess in a way, thank you for that. Like every day I go in there and I read and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when I recorded that. But fuck me. Worries. Let's talk about you. So I will say you've mellowed out in a lot of your more recent you've gone through quite a lot because you're someone that's very introspective. You write a lot. You write very long posts. And I want to give a shout out to that. And I want to also give advice to other guys that are maybe they're on the fence about self-improvement. Maybe they've just started. Maybe they have missions and goals they're working on. How much have you found it beneficial to be posting that much? Because I'll quickly give my take. I wrote a fuckload of stuff when I was on the Good Looking Loser forums. I would write long posts as long as yours every single day. I would do vlogs. I found that so fucking helpful. Like it's almost like you're giving yourself a counseling session. So do you want to just quickly speak about how helpful you found that, why you write so much, why you decided to write every day? Like what are you getting out of that? What's the purpose in writing as much as you do on the forums every day and sharing it with everyone?
I think it's like you say, really, with it's giving you the opportunity to have that counselling session with yourself. But for me, really, it's just good to have something solid that I've got my ideas and my thoughts down on, so that I can reflect upon them at a later date. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's good to it as well. It's something I'm going to come back to, so I can
Mhm.
see how far I've come. And the way I see it is, it's helping me shape the kind of person I want to be. So I started off on
Yeah.
day one, and if you look at my day one post and my day two post, I kind of went off on a rant about women and stuff, and I ended up getting my ego checked. Shout out to Joe, shout out to Brother Tucker, and a couple of the guys who,
Yep.
helped me put my ego back in place. And it helped me get over that. So it got my ego out, it got my small self out from that book that you recommended, and it
Yeah.
helped me kill it.
The
So that's
book
how I found it beneficial.
the book you're talking about is Letting Go, and we'll talk Letting Go by
Yeah,
David Hawkins. We'll talk about that in a second. But
yeah,
yeah,
brilliant
you're right.
book.
It's like you're dumping all your shit out into the world, and you're
Yeah,
being so fucking vulnerable. And then someone or multiple people sometimes will come along and basically say, "What the fuck are you
yeah,
doing here?" I had that multiple times. I would have people
yeah,
that were
yeah,
just like, "What the fuck is this? Why are you doing this?" Like, you
yeah,
can't say you're serious about this goal if you're making these excuses. Or, why are you treating women like that? That's dog shit, dude. Just because you're. I had this
yeah,
too.
yeah,
I had one guy, shout outs to, his name is Terminator. He's an old guy from the Good Looking Loser forums. And I was
yeah,
going through all this bitterness and jealousy with women, and I was angry and all of this. And he said, like, why the fuck are you treating these women like shit? And I was like, what are you talking about, bro? I'm just trying to get laid. Like, what are you talking about treating them like shit? And he's like, bro, you're being an asshole. You
yeah,
can't just put your baggage on this new woman that you've met. And I was like, yeah, but other women are shit to me. And even as I said that, I was like, oh God, why have I typed that into the computer? Why did I hit send on that? As soon as
yeah, yeah,
I said, but other women were shit to me, he was like, so why are you putting the shit from other women on this girl? This girl has done nothing wrong.
yeah,
You're punishing her for something other women did. And I was like, oh my fucking God. Like, what
yeah,
the fuck am I doing? So it's amazing being able to like put yourself out there and getting that sort of brutal feedback. And I think it always comes from a place of love. Like, I know you were pissed off, you said, when the guys crushed your ego. So do you want to talk about
yeah.
that? Like, did you know that it was coming from a place of like, okay, they're trying to help me? Or did you just think like, fuck these guys?
Yeah, the second thought was, like, man, screw these guys. And actually sent, the guy who actually checked my ego actually I sent him a private message on the forums, and I was like, I'd caught some choice words which weren't very
You're like, bro,
polite.
you don't even
So,
fucking know me. Don't tell.
pretty much, yeah, those words exactly.
Yeah.
You don't know the full story.
Dude, so many people do that shit. Like, they'll
Yeah.
you'll give them good feedback and they'll just take it so fucking personally and just
Oh,
attack
yeah.
and attach to it and just go crazy. And always that comes out like, you don't even know me, you don't even know my full story. And it's like, I don't need to. Like, it's stop defending.
Yeah, yeah, but it was Joe really who helped me see that, hey, you need to look at it. And I went away and thought about it, and I thought, well, yeah, I'm being an asshole here. And I apologise to the guy who helped, because he did genuinely give me some solid advice there, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and I apologised to him, and I said, I thought, yeah, I'm being a dick.
But we do it, dude. It's because and there's reasons, and I try and be gentle with people when I check their ego like this. It's because we're
Yeah,
coming to this with so much vulnerability, and likely this is the first time we've ever been actually vulnerable, is when we start
oh, yeah,
working on goals, especially if your first goal is trying to get decent with women. It's like there's so much vulnerability there,
yeah,
and you're basically going out into the world and saying to women, please don't hurt me. Like, that's you're basically putting your arms out wide and you're saying, please don't hurt me. That's the general
yeah,
gist of, maybe you're too manly to say it in that way, but that's kind of what's going on. And so there's so much fucking vulnerability there. And you're doing the same thing when you post on a forum. When you first start sharing this shit, you're basically saying,
oh, yeah,
please don't reject me. Please be nice to me. Please don't call me a faggot. Please don't call me a pussy. Please don't tell me to leave. And so
yeah,
with that kind of vulnerability, someone comes in and goes like, hey, listen, you're fucking this up. Here's how you can do it better. Man, all of this shit comes out. You're like, stop rejecting me like my fucking, I don't know, like my parents did when they got divorced. Stop rejecting me like that girl did when I was fucking 7 years old.
yeah,
Stop
man.
rejecting me like that kid in high school did. Like, you're bullying me just like I got bullied when I was in primary school. Like, all the shit comes out. You're not self-aware about it at the start, so you just attack back. But yeah, this is a very challenging thing that we're doing. Self-improvement is in general. That's why most people, or a lot of people, don't do it. But especially if
Oh,
you
yeah,
start trying to get good with women, man, that's probably the most vulnerable thing you can ever do. I'll be honest and say it, especially if it's one of your first like big, massive
Yeah.
goals that you work on. It's like your first foray into like vulnerability. Just fucking terrifying. So good job,
Yeah.
but fuck yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, I don't think if you're not used to people speaking to you like that, it does feel like an attack, but it was
Yeah,
100% coming from a place of love. But, it's
yeah,
just, I think your body just automatically, defense mechanism. And I think it's worse for guys because, because you're a
yes,
bloke, you've got that kind of like, that defense mechanism been
yep,
ingrained over years and years. It's like, hey, this guy's attacking me, and you just go full force
yep.
back attack.
And you're not used to. We as guys are not as used to playing nice as women are.
Yeah,
So, because
very
here's
true.
the thing, in the back of your mind as a guy, you always have this fucking thought, which is like, fuck these guys, I don't need these guys. I'm gonna go off into the jungle and live by myself. Like that's always in the fucking male brain. It's like, fuck you, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
go make my own tribe. If you guys kick me out of your tribe, I don't give a fuck. My tribe will be better. That's like. Whereas for women, it's like, I don't want to get kicked out of the tribe. I'll fucking die. So I'm gonna play
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
I'll keep my ego in check. I will care about the group rather than myself. So it's just like one more extra challenge that we have, which is like, fuck you, I don't need you. And there is,
Yes.
from the forums point of view, you got to see it from the forums point of view. Everybody
Yeah.
who's on there, or the guys that have been there for long enough, you see people come and go all the time. Like people will come in, they'll write like a 50 paragraph post about how serious they are and how ready they are to change their life, and then 2 weeks later they just stop replying. So there's this sort of almost, I won't say it's like it's not an intentional thing. I don't think it's like a fully conscious intentional thing, but guys are almost like challenging you to see if you'll stay. And
Yeah.
maybe that's a little cynical of me to phrase it like that, but there is sort of like a, let's give this guy some blunt advice. And if he's humble enough to take it and follow through on it, then I'll care about him and I can actually invest in him. He's worth my time and my energy. But if I give a little bit of blunt advice at the start and he defends and he's like, well, fuck you guys, then well, fuck him. Why would I help him?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he's not even
Yeah,
going to
exactly.
listen to the most basic shit. He's going to come into a forum when he's a newbie, essentially, and he's going to act like he knows better. And you do see that quite a lot. And generally
Yeah.
speaking, I wouldn't even try and help those people because it's like, why would I? You're not going to listen.
Oh yeah, you can't save everybody, and your time's
Yeah, man.
valuable as well. I mean, you're at the point now where it's a service and you're charging for it, and it's a very valuable
Yeah.
service from what I can see. But these guys come in, and if they're not up to it, then why waste your time on them? Why put your effort in when you could be better spending that time on
Yeah, for
people that. I
sure.
mean, that's why when you say I'd recommend this book, I'll go and buy it because you've been there. I understand the wisdom of your advice and how valuable it is. So I'll actually take your advice. Whereas I've seen guys on the forums not do that, and then they end
Yeah.
up getting pissed off and quitting after a week or two, like you say.
Yeah. Yeah. And they even won't listen to, it's not just my advice, obviously. I'm not the only one with
Oh,
good
yeah,
advice on my forums, obviously. But like, there'll be people that
yeah,
come in and don't listen to anyone. They won't listen to like Radical or
yeah.
Holden or Joe, as you mentioned, like the guys
Oh,
who
yeah,
kind of know what they're doing by this point. And
yeah,
the newbie will come in and just say like, yeah, but they'll say, I want to get laid. Joe or someone else will say, okay, do this and this and this. And they'll say like, yeah, but that won't work for me because I'm short or I'm this or I live in this city. And it's like, just do
yeah.
what you're told. Trust the people that have done this before you. Oh no, but
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
a special case. And it's like, you can't really hurt that. You can't really help that person. Yeah.
Yeah, people kind of love that, and they kind of crave that. It's like they say it like it's a statement of pride, like, "Oh no, I'm a special kind of messed up,"
Yeah.
and you know, it's like if they feel like it's good for them because they can use it to excuse all their
Mhm.
ineptitudes, and they can use it to get away and play on things.
Because at
But
the
it's
end
all
of the day,
bullshit.
that is bullshit, but that's the ego talking. And
Yeah,
it's so appealing because it's not just that it's an excuse, it's also
yeah,
it's comforting. If you say I'm short and that's why I can't get laid, it's like a big, like a hug from your parent or a blanket. It's a
yeah,
comfort blanket. You get to wrap yourself up and say, I'm okay. It's okay that I'm not getting laid. It's because I'm short. I shouldn't even try.
yeah,
And so you're it serves a purpose. It is making you feel better. It's not just like a
oh, yeah,
negative, horrible thing. That's why I be careful when I talk about the ego. I don't say like the ego is bad. It's like the ego is serving a purpose. The ego is like trying
oh,
to
yeah,
save you and protect you. The thing is, you're an adult. You don't need protection. We carry the ego. A lot of the stuff we have, which comes from ego, is from your
yeah,
childhood when it genuinely did save your life or it genuinely saved you from being fucking traumatized. At this point, as adults, it's like we got to shed as much of that ego shit as we can because it is a lot of the time holding you back. You're never going to be great if you have a big ego in the way. You can't be great. You have to, like, it was Radical who said this and got me onto this idea first, where he said the number one piece of advice that he gives to anyone who's starting self-improvement is be humble. Because if you're not humble, you won't listen to anyone else. You won't look at the feedback. You'll keep doing the same things that aren't working over and over and over again. And you will say, no, I'm going to make this work. And yes, stubbornness does definitely help. But you also want to balance that with like getting feedback and listening to other things and changing what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like you say, listen to other sources as well. Not just you, not just taking your word as gospel. I mean, I look at Black Dragon blog, Tom Lakis, obviously the Red Pill, I've been on there as well. It's just picking different bits of different advice and finding what works for me. It's like I don't agree with everything Black Dragon says. I don't agree with everything that's on your side. I don't agree with everything the Red Pill says.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah. It's just finding what works for you, really.
Exactly. This whole thing is a big self-improvement is a big experiment. Like, you're not supposed to just listen to like Tony Robbins and do 100% of what he says, because here's the thing. Even the best self-improvement guru in the entire world is not you. And in making my website or in someone else writing a book or doing a podcast or whatever advice they're giving, there's certain assumptions that have been made. I had to make a bunch of assumptions. Things that if I sat down and had infinite time, I could probably tell you all of the assumptions I've made and all of the biases that I have in my advice and how you should do this thing over here a little bit different if you're a shorter guy or all of this. But I don't have infinite time. So I've made a lot of assumptions that I'm not even aware of. And so if you come along and maybe you live in the UK where things are a little different, or you're from America and you're in a conservative town and you can't quite just go crazy on Tinder like I say, you need to make your own fucking changes to what I've said. And you need to take advice from someone else. Maybe there's someone who has advice on how to get laid in a small country town. Listen to what they have to say rather than me. Maybe mix it with what I have to say, figure stuff out, try, because there's too many variables here. And here's the other thing. You are your own human being with your own preferences, your own dislikes, your own likes. You might try my advice and be like, I don't fucking like that. Like, I see what he's going for. I understand why he's doing that, but I don't like BDSM. So why would I do BDSM? Or I don't want to have a threesome. Or I don't want to have one girl that I sleep with and she's my girlfriend and then we see other girls together. I don't want to do that. I don't like that. Like, I've had people tell me they don't like threesomes. I've had guys have several threesomes and say, I don't really like it. It doesn't feel as intimate as when I just have sex with my girlfriend. And I'm like, then don't fucking have threesomes. I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong because you don't want threesomes. Oh, you're a pussy, bro. Are you scared of having sex with two women? It's like, no, this everything I say to do is what I like to do. And I think I make that pretty clear, but it's only when you actually start experimenting that you go like, oh shit, Andy isn't correct. Like, Andy isn't like God who's got the perfect answers. He's just saying some shit that will work, sure, or probably will work, but it might not be optimal for me. It's like you see people, when you get into content creation, dude, people will argue with you. People will ask you questions like, this other guy said this other thing, Andy, like, is he correct or are you correct? And it's like, I'm not going to get into a fucking argument. Like, both of us are correct. Or they'll say like, which content creator is better? Who's more right? Who's more advanced? Who's the elite guy? It's like, it's not about that. Like, you're just saying what has worked for you. And if it doesn't work for someone else, like, great, congratulations, awesome. Yeah. Like, I like that feedback. I like knowing something I said didn't work, because then it's like, I get to expand my knowledge. I get to add in a caveat or say like, maybe it doesn't work.
And you learn from it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And the person, it's why I hate the label of expert, and I fucking hate the label of expert. We could get into a whole conversation, and let's try not to, about how over the last 2 years with a certain virus, everybody who calls themselves an expert, everybody else has to just listen to them no matter what.
Celebrity
They're just correct.
Doctor. Yeah, the celebrity doctor, yeah.
And we know exactly
swine flu.
Yeah.
Do you remember swine flu? They had one of those then as well. And obviously this time they've had Fauci, which is, I'm sure they've got one in your country and they've got one in mine as well.
Yeah. You guys have that Neil Ferguson guy, I think. Ferguson.
Oh, yeah. The guy who took his own lockdown so seriously, he travelled halfway across London to have it off his married mistress.
All the hypocritical experts. But the point there is that's like a misuse of or a hijacking of the word expert. You're just saying, I'm an expert, so you have to listen to everything I say. Fuck that. I don't ever want to be that. And I know some people see me as that, and I'm like, no. Don't listen to everything I say. Half of what I
It's
say is me just saying what I feel at that moment in time. It might turn out to be wrong 6 months later. I try and base everything off proof, but like I'm constantly evolving. I'm going to contradict myself. 3 years from now, I'll probably have a slightly different opinion or a majorly different opinion than I do right now because I'm evolving too, and you need to be as well.
Oh yeah, and you have to be careful with those kind of labels. I mean, like the fact they can be open to abuse. You know, like trust me, I'm a doctor, or
Yeah,
trust me, I'm a
man.
police officer. Well, you know, that girl who got murdered, she got into that guy's car because he was a cop. You know, I'm
Yeah,
a police officer. You know, you got to trust me, do what I say. In the same way,
yeah,
you got these experts. Oh no, you need to stay locked down. Trust me, we're
yeah,
experts. You know,
yeah.
it's definitely open to abuse, and you know that the corruption of power is definitely there. You know, especially
Yeah,
as these guys have got shares in the vaccine companies and stuff like that. You know,
we
all
could
comes
turn
out
this
in the
into a
wash.
big conspiracy. No, it's not even a conspiracy, but a
Yeah,
big fucking. I'd rather not because I try
yeah,
and talk about that shit as less as I possibly can. But that is a really good example of people hijacking the word expert and saying, we're the
definitely.
experts. The media have done the same thing. We're the
Yeah,
news, we're the media, so you have to just listen to us. And it's like, why? Like, you're just a person saying an opinion. And
yeah,
there are a whole lot of agendas behind what you're saying. You're making a whole fuck ton of money saying what you're saying. You got to follow
yeah,
the money. There's a classic
yeah,
statement, a classic phrase, proverb: "Follow the money, and that will tell you the answer." Like,
yeah. You got to see it for what it is, man.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
definitely.
Let's get off COVID shit. Fuck
Good
COVID.
idea.
Now that we've been monetized and my channel has been deleted for daring to question a single expert, let's talk
Seriously,
about
man.
you talked about the start of your journey and that moment where you got your ego checked and shit, and then that opened up a whole, like, once you pulled your ego away and you said, like, okay, these guys are trying to give me advice, this is useful advice, my ego doesn't want me to see, you said the bigger problem, which was that you were making poor choices with women and enabling
Yeah,
their bad behavior by putting up with it. Can you give some examples of that? Because I did a podcast with Doom recently. This is something that comes
yeah,
up so much, like guys putting up with bad behavior and then saying women are all like this, women are bad, women have this bad behavior. A lot of the time it's because you're putting up with it, you're letting it
yeah.
happen, or even encouraging it. So what were these poor choices? What were this bad behavior? And how did that change? Like, what did you decide to do to fix the problem?
Well, so Doom's podcast, that he did with him, loved it. Doom's a top guy as well.
He is,
Had
yeah.
the back and forth on the forums, and yeah, he's a top bloke. Yeah, there's a number of things really. I mean, I got stood up at a train station. Um, you know, travel for 2 hours on a train, and I got stood up. You know,
Everybody
that was
has one
pretty
of those
stupid.
stories. I do
Yeah,
too. And then I was like, right,
yeah,
I'm never traveling ever again. Like, I'm not going to
yeah,
travel this far unless
yeah,
it's, or here's what I did. If I'm ever traveling that far, the most I ever
yeah,
travel now is like an hour. If I'm ever traveling that far, I'm going to have a backup plan or other stuff, not even a backup plan. I'm going to have other stuff I do while I'm there, and she's just a part of that. So I'm going to travel to this city or whatever to meet her. But what I'm really going to
mm,
do is I've looked up 10 different places that I can go sightseeing. I'm going to take some Tinder
oh,
pictures
yeah,
here.
yeah,
I'm also got a mate who lives there. I'm going to see him, or maybe I'll get my mate to come with me and I can just go away from him for a couple of hours while I see this girl. Like, you make a
yeah,
day of it. You do a bunch of other shit. And then if she doesn't show up, you're like, oh, that fucking sucks. Yeah, I'm annoyed, but like, I'm going to go do all this other cool shit. It's
get
only
something
when
out of
you,
it.
yeah, it's only when you put all your eggs in one basket with women. Like, if you clear your entire day and a girl doesn't rock up, or you keep your whole night free and you have no backup plan and she doesn't rock up, you're going to be really fucking pissed off. Whereas if you
Yeah,
say, I'm going to see this girl and then I'm going to read a book and then I'm going to meditate and I'm going to go for a walk and maybe I'll see my friend Tom as well. If you have other
yeah,
shit that
yeah,
you're doing and she doesn't rock up, you're like, ah, fucking that sucks. But I like Tom. We'll go hang out. We'll have a nice night. I'll see if Tom wants to meet me early and we'll go hang out for extra. So that's the
yeah. That's a
fucking
good
answer there, dude.
idea.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good idea. That happened. What else? Yeah, I met another girl for a date, and she called me scrawny, and I just put up with it and stuck out on the date. Whereas what I should have done was just walked off. You
Yeah.
know,
Or even in that moment, I mean,
called her
a
out on
woman
it.
in, yes, yes, just be like you literally stop and you say like, why'd you call me that? And
Yeah.
then she'll be like, oh, well, it was just a joke. And you're like, are you okay though? Like, why did you just insult someone? Like,
Oh yeah.
why did you insult someone? That's weird. Like, are you angry about something? Like
Yeah.
you call it out and you basically say like, what's going on? And sometimes you will have an actual conversation and she'll be like, look, I'm really sorry. I'm just nervous. And you're like, it's okay. But like, just can you be nice to me? Like, I'm going to be nice to you. Like, what? But sometimes they won't. And then you just go like, this is weird. Like, you're weird. I'm going to leave. Like, this is fucking weird. I've had girls do that before. I've had girls like call me a pussy because I didn't want to drink with them. I said like, I'm not drinking. And they're like, you're a fucking pussy. And I'm like,
yeah, there was that girl you kicked out of your flat, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I
was like, this is weird.
That.
You need to leave. Like, this is really weird. You're being really weird. And she's like, you're a pussy. Just drink with me. And I was like, you need to leave. This is weird. You're being really fucking weird. I don't know if you're just horny or whatever, but this is weird. So,
yeah, I mean, I could have been really nasty to her because lockdown hadn't been kind. She'd put a lot of weight on and stuff.
Yeah,
but I thought, no, I'll be the bigger person. Although really, she was the bigger person.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, there was that. I was dating a girl for a couple of months who, she had like a beta guy friend who texts her off his brother's phone, pretending to be my secret girlfriend. Like he got hold of this phone and it was like texting her saying, "Oh, I'm Sid's secret girlfriend. You know, my name's this." And
did she believe it?
She did, yeah.
Okay, so this is the kind of stuff that, like, as you get more experience, you just screen all this shit out. You're like, I can't deal with this. This is insane. Like, I got shit to do. What I should
have done was said, okay, whatever, you know. If that's what you think, if you're not going to believe me, then this is over. Good luck with everything. But instead, I stuck it out. But this guy was saying things like I was violent and abusive and all this sort of stuff. And really, the police should have been involved or something. You know, I ended up calling his mum in the end, which was quite funny. I just called his mum, told him what he'd done because I found him out. Like, I put up with her for 6 months. She wouldn't have sex with me because she was convinced I was cheating, even though it was proved I wasn't. You know, that kind of stuff. So that was quite difficult. Whereas what I should have done was just cut it straight off.
Yes. Yeah, it's funny how we put up with a lot at the start. We really put up with a lot. I mean, look at the horrible relationships that I was in, that I engineered and stayed there for 8
was it like 9 years? Yeah,
yes,
9 years.
I
think I remember you saying. Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? But that's just what you think you deserve. Or it's like you haven't had a taste of something easier or something better or something less drama. And it's when other people come along and say like, Sid, what the fuck are you doing? Break up with these chicks. And then you're like, what do you mean? What was I doing? But I could have had sex. Like, what do you, and they're just like, dude, you're being insane. Just break up with these chicks. You break up with them. You go date someone else who just makes it easy for you, who's nice to you, and you're like, oh shit, I could have had this from the start. And it's like, yeah, you could have saved yourself, like in my case, like 9 fucking years. You could have saved yourself 6 months. Now, obviously, I think I needed to go through my shit to learn from it. Maybe you did too. I think that's a big part of it. But yeah, when you have a taste of something easier, when you meet some women who are just nice to you, you're just like, this could be my baseline. Every woman could be nice to me. And it's like, yeah. And then all you see is nice women, and then women aren't horrible anymore because it's like you don't even have time for the ones who are. So women are just nice now.
Yeah, you just got to separate the wheat from the chaff. I mean, the one that really got me, there's the recent one, but there's one a couple of years ago when a girl jumped on me when I didn't have like a condom on. And, so I flipped out and pushed her off and left and whatever. And she texted me a couple of weeks later saying she had the clap and that I'd given it to her. So this was the height of COVID and I couldn't get a test. So I had to stress about that for a couple of weeks. You know, that was a really stressful time. That was a really crappy thing. And then there was the other girl recently who, said, I regret everything. And she was saying, you pushed me into it. And that really sent me down. I was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. For people who don't know you posted on the forums about this. You had sex with a girl, and then afterwards she was like, I wish we hadn't had sex, or I regret it, or whatever. And that obviously fucked you up because you're a decent dude. And I find that the guys that get fucked up by this, because I've had a couple of friends, even many years ago, I had a couple of friends who went through similar shit. I find the guys that this happens to, it's almost like these girls are intentionally finding victim guys to do this to, because it's always the nicest fucking guys who would be the last person on earth to ever do this to, to ever have sex that a girl wouldn't enjoy. And so, for context, it's like you just had normal sex with a girl. Everything's perfectly fucking fine. She seems to be enjoying it. And then the next day.
Breakfast the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's psychopathic to me. Like she's
Yeah,
literally going to sit there and have breakfast with you and have a nice time and everything's wonderful. And sure,
definitely.
I'm
Yeah,
not even doubting like maybe she did regret it. That's on her. That's like
yeah,
if I go to IKEA and buy a bunch of dumb shit I don't need, while I'm in IKEA, I'm like this place is amazing. Oh my God, they have everything. Then I get home and I check my
yeah,
fucking credit card records and I'm like, why did I spend $900 at IKEA? I regret going to IKEA. Now,
mm,
IKEA didn't fucking do anything wrong. That's me.
no, yeah,
That's IKEA didn't fucking manipulate me or make me buy that shit. I chose to. And just because a day or 2 days later,
yeah,
maybe the rent is due now and I don't have the money to pay the rent. And I'm like, oh fuck, why did I go to IKEA? Fuck, IKEA made me spend all the money. No, they didn't. I
yeah,
chose to. And it's usually the nicest fucking guys that this shit happens to. Where it's like normal sex, she loves it. The next day she hangs out, they have breakfast, she sends a text, hey, this was so much fun. 5 days later, hey, I kind of wish we hadn't had sex. And then you take that as like, oh my God, I did something wrong. It's like, no, you didn't. She just, I don't
yeah,
know, she's
definitely.
just, her ex came back into town and she feels like she shouldn't have slept with you, or she cheated on
Yeah,
you. She has a boyfriend or something she didn't
mm,
tell you about, or she just doesn't, she's not ready for sex, or she's not emotionally ready, or she's had childhood trauma.
yeah,
We had that with a girl, the first girl that Imogen and I ever slept with in a threesome. She had a great time. She's like, that was amazing. Everything was wonderful. And then
yeah,
a couple of days later, she's like, I can't see you guys again. She didn't say she'd regretted it, but she couldn't see us again. It's like, why? Because she went through some childhood trauma shit. I'm not going to say
yeah,
what,
yeah.
but that brought
Yeah,
that
that's fair.
all up. So
Well,
sex
that's the
is a,
thing. Yeah,
it can, like, you're bringing up a lot of vulnerabilities. And
yeah.
so I'm not even going to try and be too harsh on the woman that, you
No,
slept
no.
with. But it's like it brings up so much shit. And if you're, I see this a lot where people think of sex as this kind of just like casual, flippant, like small thing, and it is. It's
Big
just
deal.
sex, but it can be kind of. It can
Some
bring
people, yeah,
shit up. Yeah, because
yeah,
it's not just sex; it's intimacy as well. It's the intimacy
yeah,
part of it that brings shit up. Sex is
yeah.
just sex, but it's all the other stuff. It's the closeness. It's the intimacy. Maybe it reminds you of something in childhood. All of that kind of shit.
Oh, definitely. I mean, really the big one for that for me. The rejection I could handle, well, because it was
Yeah,
like, okay, I'll just get back on Tinder or whatever. But I mean, really from my past, I saw quite a really nasty rape when I was on the job,
yeah,
and that kind of, and to be labelled in as that
yeah,
kind of guy, like she was saying, oh, I regret it, and I felt forced into it, and it's like she never said stop or anything. I mean, you've seen the story on my log, but that kind of thought, oh my God, I'm a monster, I'm a fucking
yeah,
monster, so that was quite hard, and it's kind of, but the guys on the forums and yourself with that video helped me through, which I'm very grateful for. I think
yeah.
I'd still be on a downer by now, and I'd have probably given up on the whole self improvement thing if it wasn't for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a funny thing, isn't it? Because it's one thing that doesn't really get talked about is like with these kind of things, and I don't think we need to say this, but maybe I'll say this just in case anyone's listening and not fully appreciating what we're talking about here. If
yeah,
you do pressure or force a girl into sex, like obviously that's not fucking okay. I
yeah,
shouldn't need to even say that. We're not even remotely talking about that. We're talking about fully
yeah,
consensual sex where two people enjoy it. They have breakfast in the morning afterwards. Everything's fine. Several days later, or a day or two later, or whatever, she says, like, oh, I wish I hadn't had sex there. I'm going
yeah,
to retrospectively change history and say, oh, you made me have sex, or you pushed me, or you encouraged me, or I wasn't ready and you didn't stop. And like, but like literally none of that was present at the time. I can't read your mind.
yeah,
One thing that doesn't get talked about when this happens is the person who's in the position of less power, let's call it that. That's usually the
yeah,
woman.
yeah,
That person has a responsibility too. And she hasn't held up
absolutely.
her end of the bargain. This is something that gets talked about in BDSM. This does get talked about in, like, I know escorts, and I've spoken to escorts on here. I've had an escort on this channel, and we talked about this concept. Those people get it. Escorts, BDSM people, the kink community, they get what I'm about
Yeah,
to say. The submissive person or the person in the lower position of power, they have a responsibility too. There is a trust that goes on when two people have sex. And if the person who's in that lower position doesn't speak up and say, hey, I'm feeling a bit weird tonight. Is it all right if we just cuddle? Or is it okay if we kind of stop or slow down or something? Or this is a little intense for me. Can we slow down?
yeah,
If they don't say something like that, they've broken the trust too. And I'm not going to go hard on them and say like, oh, they're a horrible person. They're a piece of shit. Like, I know I was a little hard on the previous episode where I talked about this same topic with Ed or
yeah,
about
yeah,
Ed, but you do have a I don't blame, like in your case, I don't blame your girl for not speaking up and not getting it and all that. But where it isn't okay is when she then insinuates that you're a bad person. If she
Definitely.
says, "Hey, I regret it. Hey, I wish we'd slowed down. Hey, I'm sorry I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Can we take it slow, or can I have a bit of space, or can we just hang out and not have sex just so I can feel okay again?"
Yeah.
You'd be like,
And
"Yeah,
I'd have
that's fine."
respected her wishes. Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
respected her
you'd be
wishes.
like,
That's
"Yeah,"
the thing. Yeah. Because
but
it's my
it's treating you like
responsibility
the
to
enemy.
stop. Yeah. It's my
Yeah,
responsibility to stop, but it's on
but you have
her
to be
to
given
tell
the
me
fucking
when to
signal.
stop. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because how do you know? Especially,
Yeah.
I'm going to assume you're the kind of guy, which most guys are, that get feedback and like
Yeah.
feedback and say, "How does that feel? Does that feel good?" And she's moaning and she's enjoying it, and you're going like, "Cool, green light." There's a concept in the BDSM, like a lot of BDSM people talk about this: red light, yellow light, green light. And
Yeah.
basically, if you're giving me a green light, I have to assume you want this. I have to assume this is fine. If you're literally moaning and saying, "That feels good. Oh my God, I love that. Oh my God, I'm going to come. Oh my God, fuck me harder." Like all of that. It's like, what am I supposed to think, that you want to go home and stop this? If you
Yeah.
give a yellow light, which is where you say nothing and you're completely still and like you're making no sounds, okay, like that's very clearly like, "Hey, are you enjoying this? Like, is everything okay?" And then a red
Yeah.
light is obviously like, "Hey, stop. Hey, wait, I want to take a break." Or you start crying or something, or you just go like defensive or something like that. That's a red light,
Yeah.
clearly. But if you're giving green lights the entire time, it's like at some point you have to take some responsibility. You don't get to play the victim when you weren't even the victim. I
No,
can't
yeah.
I can't walk down the street and then just randomly stop another person and say, "Hey, you just offended me." And they're like, "Offended you how? What are you talking about?" And you're like, "That thing you just said before was offensive to me." And they're like, "What did I
Yeah.
say though? I don't remember saying anything." And you're like, "Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you did say something or you thought about something." I can't just invent a crime, basically. I can't
Well, yeah.
invent a breach of trust. It's not a crime, but I can't invent a breach of trust. I can't just invent that.
Oh, definitely. It was literally, for me, it was the week from hell. I thought the police
Mm.
were going to knock on my door because they're going after ex-cops at the minute, as you
If
know.
if
You know.
if if anything had actually happened, you wouldn't even be having that conversation. Like, do you get what I
No.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
if a girl is going through that whole thing, like, "Oh, I regret it. I wish we hadn't had sex." Blah blah blah. That
No.
wouldn't if something had actually happened, why would she be saying that to you instead of going to the police?
Who has
Unless
breakfast the
she's
morning
okay.
after with their rapist?
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I make this point a lot of the time, and people will defend and say, you know,
Mm.
"Oh, but victims, like, you can't tell a victim what they should or shouldn't do." And it's like, no, stop taking all responsibility away from a victim.
Yeah.
If someone was a victim, they have a responsibility, or I believe they have a responsibility to stop further victims. And so what you wouldn't do is just say like, "Oh, I regret it. Oh, ha ha, I regret it. Lol." Like, no, if there was actually an issue here, you'd go like, "I need to go to the police."
Yeah. Yeah.
And even this whole discussion about going to the police, again, let's make it really clear. Like, she just had consensual, normal, fucking fun sex with you. Enjoyed it. Had
Yeah.
breakfast with you the next morning. This was fun. Several days later, hey, I kind of wish we hadn't done that. So it's
Yeah.
when
Couldn't believe it.
you took it very personally, and I understand why. But
I
from the
did.
rest of our point of view, we were like, "Dude, why are you freak?" I think there were even some people that said to you, like, "Dude, why are you freaking out over this?" Like, but I get from your point of view, it feels like, "Oh my God, the insinuation." Like,
Yeah.
she's saying that I'm a bad person. It's not even that she's saying I did something wrong. It's deeper than that. It's like she's saying I'm a bad person, and I know I'm not.
Yeah. It was a big part of that. I think really it's just because I've always prided myself on being a decent guy.
Yeah.
Like I've never been that kind of guy. I think at the first I was a nice guy. I've read the book now, Mr. Nice Guy. But I'm now trying to be a decent guy, not an asshole, not a
Hmm.
walkover, but just kind of somewhere in between. But to think that I was that kind of guy and been labelled and been thought of by someone, that really hurts.
It
Especially as I've
does.
seen it firsthand.
It
I've seen
does.
the damage that happens, and I've been to court and I've seen the victims and the witnesses and how it messes them up. And I thought, well, is that me? Am I that kind of guy?
This is something that comes up pretty
Yeah.
regularly. Not regularly. This.
Mm.
It's pretty inevitable that this kind of stuff will come up in some form or another. As in, people saying that you're not a good person when you work on any goal. Any goal.
Yeah.
It's not even getting laid. Um, any goal whatsoever. Like, let's pick getting laid or getting decent with women and getting a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Once you start that, you'll get some women that will say, you're just using women, you're just a fuckboy. And if you're just a decent, like a normal fucking dude who's not out there having, I mean, we'd have to define what using women means. Maybe you have a bunch of one night stands and you don't text them afterwards and you don't walk them to the car and you don't tell them that was fun. You literally just fuck them and immediately kick them out. Yeah, that's going to make a lot of women feel pretty shit. So assuming you're not doing that, you will get you'll get people that will say you're using women and you will feel like, no, I'm not. I'm a nice person. Like, I'm a decent dude. Like, why am I being caught? It feels a lot like the first couple of times it happens, it does feel like your world is coming crashing down.
Yeah.
When you get into content creation, especially if you're trying to do content to help other people, you will very, very, very regularly, at least at the start, get people who are cynical and they'll say, you're just trying to make money. You're just a scammer. You're just using people for money. You don't actually want to help anyone. You're just trying to scam everyone. Your advice is full of shit. You're lying when you say that a short guy can get laid. You're full of shit. You're lying when you say a fat guy can lose weight. You're full of shit. If you're in the diet industry, same shit. You're scamming fat people. You're saying that fat people can lose weight. No, they can't. I have a thyroid issue, blah, 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 blah. So pretty much any self-improvement goal that you start working on, you will get naysayers and haters, so to speak, and people trying to dissuade you from doing it. Usually that's because you doing something or you achieving something holds a mirror up to them and they think like, fuck, now I have to do it, but I don't want to do it, so I'm going to drag him down. But this is a very, very almost inevitable thing that happens. Every guy that I've seen has gone through something like this, where basically one person or a bunch of people, maybe some friends and family find out they're getting laid or something and they go like, why are you doing that? That's shallow. You're using women. Maybe they tell family members, hey, I'm in an open relationship, and the family go like, wait, doesn't that mean you're using your girlfriend? Aren't you cheating on her? What if she cheats on you? Like, you go through this whole kind of process of, am I a bad person? Am I doing something wrong? And you have to kind of come out the other side and go like, what do I want? Am I not hurt? Like, am I definitely not hurting anyone? If everyone is consenting and I'm trying to do good and I'm trying to add to the world, what does it matter if other people like disagree with what I'm doing or think that I'm shallow or think that I'm using someone or think that I'm a bad person? Because it is, I'll tell you right now, this will happen again. I'm not saying this exact situation will happen, but like the further you get with your goals, I don't know what your further goals are after getting laid. We can talk about that in a second, but this shit will happen. That people will talk you out of it. They'll say you're a bad person. They'll be cynical. Eventually, it's like water off a duck's back. You stop giving a shit. But the first couple they test you. And I'd like you to see this, and I'm sure you already do, see this as a test. Like, this is a test of your stoicism, your ability to not quit. Because this kind of shit is why most people quit. Like, they'll get tested like this, and they'll be like, I can't fucking handle this. And it's like, I'm sorry, but this is kind of what the process is. It's not always this brutal because you get better at handling this shit. You won't care next time. Like, you won't care. You'll be like, well, I don't think this will happen to you again, because now what you're going to do, and I'd be
fingers
careful.
Crossed, man.
No, because hear me out.
Yeah.
I want you to make sure that you don't go so far in the other direction that you become paranoid or something with future women. Because just because one woman was kind of like weird, I call this fucking strange, that she can't tell you that she doesn't want to. Also, she clearly enjoyed the sex and then several days later decided she didn't. That to me is like fucking unstable. What you will do going forward is you will likely look for or require girls to be more mentally stable before you sleep with them. And again, try not to be paranoid about it or go too far in that direction. But there's a reason that I don't sleep with crazy girls anymore. And yet, for the longest time, I slept with like so many crazy girls. It was my thing. I just kept getting crazy girls. I had no idea why. It was because I wasn't screening. I saw the red flags and I ignored them. And again, don't be paranoid. Don't go so far in that direction. But I suspect something like this will never happen to you again, because you'll be like, I can tell when a girl's like weird, and I will have a conversation with her and either make sure she isn't weird or really talk it out, or I'll get rid of her. I'll go, no, I can't trust her, because it's a trust thing now. It's like, if I can't trust you, I'm not going to sleep.
That's why I don't do. That's why I don't do first date lies anymore, because I just I'm thinking, well, I just want to go for a coffee, just make sure they're okay first, because you never know who you're meeting. And they could pull this kind of thing on me again, or anything really.
And that's So that's a good piece of advice, a good topic to talk about. How we said before,
Mm.
you want to do what works for you. There will be
Yeah.
a million people that will tell you having sex on the first date is the most masculine, manly thing you can do. You're a pussy if you don't do it. You got to fuck on the first date. It's like the epitome of cool. It's like how you've made it. You know you've made it if you can fuck on the first date. You come along and you're like, I don't want to fucking do that shit. I'm never doing that shit. Fuck that. Like so it's a great example of doing what you want to do. And by the way, like there's nothing wrong. Like most of the girls that we sleep with, we don't sleep with till the second date for the same reason you just said. We go on a bar. Maybe we'll go home and fool around a little bit, but my dick doesn't go in them because it's like I want to make sure we've had time to get rid of those red flags or see if those red flags come up. Make sure she's chill. Make sure we both like her. All of that kind of shit.
Oh yeah, it definitely makes sense because it's the personality as well you want to take.
Yeah, dude.
Because I don't really like one night stands. It'd be nice to have something regular with a girl, but if their personality is shit and they're a psycho, then I'm not going to want that. You
don't want that psycho pussy? You don't want to stick that dick in crazy? No.
No, I'll pass, thanks.
Yeah, there is sort of, I think in the getting laid community, there is sort of an obsession with getting laid as quickly as possible. And I probably helped continue that quite a bit early on because that was all I cared about. That was a lot of what I talked about. Even my Tinder guide is set up for like how to get laid on the first date. But the further I go and the more, most of my clients and most of the people on my forums don't really want to just get laid at all costs. And I'm surprised that I have as many or as much of an audience and a loyal audience when so much of my content is about getting laid as quickly as possible and like just getting pussy, get laid. And it's like most of my audience are not like that. They're like, I just want a couple of nice girls. Maybe I just even want a girlfriend, one fucking girlfriend, and I want to build something with her. I like this idea of building. It's kind of like my content's kind of schizophrenic in some ways. So I'll do more content. Everyone listening, I'll do more content about like how to get laid, how to slow it down, basically, how to get girls to stick around. I covered that in the Tinder guide and stuff, but yeah, it's not just you, by the way. That's a very common thing. Like, I don't want to fuck on the first date. There's even me, like I said right now.
No, it's good to know. I appreciate it. Like, it's nice to have that reassurance because you think, well, hang on, is something wrong with me? Am I gay for not wanting to have sex on the first date?
I know. Am I gay for wanting to stick my penis in a woman on date 2? Is that gay? Is it gay if I want to? No, but there is this weird, like, sort of, like war going on. Maybe that's a harsh way of saying it, but like there's one camp where it's like get laid as quickly as possible, just get pussy, go, and then there's the other camp who are like, but I want to actually like the women. Am I allowed to just like the women? And you feel like pulled in both directions. You feel like there is this weird thought of like, if I want intimacy or love or affection, that's gay. That's gay somehow. If I want to actually really feel intimate with the women and fucking cuddle and just have a nice time, that's gay and wrong. I should just want to fuck them and then get back to my mission. Women are just a side fucking thing. I just stick my dick in them and then I fucking get back to grinding on my mission. I'm a Sigma. Sigma's on that fucking grind set. We don't just like love women. Loving women is for faggots. Like there is that kind of, I know no one's explicitly saying that, but that is kind of, I think that's part of the masculine kind of energy where it's like, you have a bunch of guys sitting around going like, am I allowed to like these women? And I've always said like, yeah, like that's the point. Like, why? Yes. And it's this weird sort of battle, isn't it?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, you'll post on Reddit or somewhere, or and people just jump on you and they'll say, no, you're doing it wrong. You need to do it like this. So, it's like me getting up at 4. To people who work night shifts, that isn't going to work for them. Oh, you should get up at 4:30. What's wrong? They're like, I finish work at 7 in the morning. That ain't going to work for them. It's not going to work for everybody. It's not one size fits all a lot of the time.
You say that, but
for you.
I feel like the vast majority of guys do want intimacy with women.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say everyone does. If you want to just get laid a lot, fine, go do that. I did that for a long time. It was a lot of fun. But I feel like eventually everyone ends up getting to that point where they're like, either I want some open relationships or I want at least a couple of friends with benefits that I really care about and I kind of like them a lot and we hang out.
Meaningful. You want something meaningful.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I can relate.
And I was trying to, like recently I've been trying to figure out why I believe that or why. So here's a counterexample. I've seen a few getting laid experts and gurus and shit like that. that say, oh, I've banged like 1,500 women. I could think of one in particular right now. And something in me, when I hear that number, goes, that seems excessive. And then I've tried to be open-minded about it. I've tried to explore, like, why do I think that's excessive? Like, why do I get a strong reaction when I hear 1,500 lays? Like what's going on there? What is it? Is it me? Is it insecurity? Is it because that's like 10 times my lay count? Is it like, am I missing something? Is there something on me? And thinking through it, I think it's because at some point getting laid gets really easy. You know exactly what you're doing. At this point, getting laid is stupid easy for me. And that's I'm not meaning for that to be a brag. I'm very grateful for how easy it is because it was so fucking hard at the start. But like lays will just come in. And now it's more about which one do you want to say yes to? Like you have like 5 options this week. Do you want to say yes to any of them? Maybe say no to all of them. Maybe they all have a deal breaker. Maybe you just go on a bunch of dates and don't sleep with any of them. And you're like, I'm just going to socialize with these girls. But sex gets
you can
very
afford
easy.
to be picky.
Yeah. And then I feel like if you're not being picky at that stage, which to get to 1,500 lays involves you not being picky, at that point, is that worth celebrating? You're now doing something that's as easy as brushing your teeth, and you're doing it so consistently that it's like, why didn't you upgrade your goal? Why didn't you start sleeping with more attractive women, which would slow your lay count down? Why don't you try having orgies or something? Why don't you try doing
for the
photo shoots?
low-hanging fruit?
Yeah.
No,
why don't you get
sense.
a girlfriend? Why don't you any of that kind of stuff? And so, and again, I hope this doesn't come across as judgmental for those people. People can do whatever the fuck they want. But to me personally, I think I do see that a lot with most guys. They get to a certain lay count and they go, I think I want something else. This isn't a challenge anymore. This isn't fulfilling. And I think part of the reason it's not fulfilling is because it's not a challenge. If every one of those 1,500 lays was hard, then great, like good job. Everyone would clap their hands. But I think after a certain point, like even when I do my lay counts now, so my lay reports, I try and have a different reason for why I'm talking about them. I don't just say like, hey, I got laid. Like I did a lay report the other day with the girl that we slept with like last week. And before I even sat down to do it. Yeah, no, after her, a more recent one.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I kind of want to talk about her because she was really fun. She was giggly. She was adorable. I want an excuse to talk about her because, like, I had a lot of joy. We had a lot of fun with her. She's great. But I need an angle. I need an interesting angle for why I talk about it. I can't just say I got laid. Like, what that's boring. So, it ended up being, okay, well, keep an open mind. Like, before we went on the date with this new chick, I was thinking, like, I don't want to go on this date. I'm tired. But I told myself, keep an open mind. What if she's cuter than her pictures? Her pictures were kind of shitty. She's like 18 and she does that classic, like, shitty picture thing that 18-year-olds do where they just have memes and, like, dumb fucking pictures of their cat and shit. Pictures of their fucking leg. Just, like, stupid fucking pictures. So I was like, keep an open mind. We go on the date. She's fucking amazing, way cuter, adorable, giggly. She gave me a big hug when she first walked in. She was a little fucking sweetie, big fucking tits that I kept staring at the whole date. And so the podcast was more about keeping an open mind and what that can do for you rather than I got laid again. Because after a certain point, if I just sit there and do 5 more podcasts about, hey guys, I got laid, people literally won't listen to that. Like you might learn something from it. But if I'm only talking about getting laid, you'll be like, what are you bragging about for, dude? Like I got laid this week. Like why are you bragging that you got laid this week? You're like 5 years ahead of me. You shouldn't be bragging. And then if I carried that on for several years, like up to imagine if I did 1,000 more lay reports. Like how is that interesting? Who's listening to those 1,000? What are you learning from the 900th one that you didn't learn from the 150th?
The 900th 4 out of 10.
Yeah. At some point, it is. You're just kind of going for the low hanging fruit. And again, I hope that doesn't come across as me throwing shade at other people who have those lay counts. But I think that's why I don't look at the lay count and go like, it's like I see the lay count and then my brain goes, "What have you done recently, though? Like, have you helped anyone? Have you done a great coaching call with someone? Have you given money to an orphanage? Like something? Have you gone and broken a PR at the gym? Have you done something new?" Because I think part of existence has to be like pushing the bar further, like
definitely
that next achievement, that next PR, that next personal best. Like, and I don't think it's like if you ran a race, if you're Usain Bolt and you run the race at 9.8 seconds or whatever the fuck the record is, and then you do that 100 more times at the exact same time, it's like no one gives a shit. Like literally no one gives a shit. Good job, Usain Bolt. You're fast. We know.
We'll name me headline news.
Yeah. But 9.79, now we care.
Definitely. Yeah, that's definitely news now. That makes sense now. I totally get it because, I mean, that's what I worry about. Like, some of my posts and stuff, they're a bit repetitive. So, like, on the forums, and I'm thinking, well, I'm supposed to be getting something out of this. That's why, I've started writing in more detail and stuff. And I thought, well, it's my 365 project. I've got to put the effort in because I'm hoping to do another one next year. And if I can say, well, I'll put this amount of effort in with this one, I need to go for the same level. I've set myself a target to beat. It needs to be that consistency there, but just try and get a bit better every time.
And to be fair, some days you're not going to have anything interesting to say. Like you're doing, so for everyone listening, you're doing a project where you're posting every single day on my forums, and pretty big posts. You're doing pretty detailed posts. Not every day of a 365-day project is going to be interesting. Like you have days where you just can't be fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yesterday was just a shitty post. Yeah. Yesterday was just a shitty post because I was like, it's Boxing Day. I'm having a day off. Screw it. Just a couple of lines.
Yeah.
And I think the one time the other day I was at a funeral like a couple of months ago, so that was just a shitty post. So I'm not getting into detail with that. So yeah, that was it really.
But it's more about the consistency.
Oh yeah,
and teaching yourself that you can do something crazy, like something every day for a year, and then you can apply that to a different goal. What if I did content creation every day for a year, like I did? What if I don't know, someone who's stuck in a job that they don't enjoy? What if every day I spend 10 minutes researching, like upgrading my skills so that I can get a promotion? Do that for a year. Holy shit, you'll be a god after a year. Like 10 minutes a
Edge.
day. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I've started reading that today.
That's
I finished. I finished Letting Go, and I've started on the Slight Edge today. I thought I'd read a couple of pages, but I'm hooked already.
You're basically already doing the Slight Edge. It's just baby steps every day. Do a tiny little bit every day. Yeah. That's it.
Because you sent me that link as well to read while I'm also reading the book. Yeah, so I'm going to fire that up tomorrow and just read along with it. But yeah, really enjoying it so far. It's good shit.
Good shit. While we're talking about good books, you mentioned that you liked Jocko Willink's book, Extreme Ownership.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And how you got a bit out of that because you were kind of like blaming women. You're like, oh, women suck, this, that, and the other. That book is the most masculine version of self-awareness ever. The whole book is just like, shut the fuck up. It's your fault. You can change it. It's up to you. Like, you have the power. Don't be a little bitch. Like, written by a guy with big fucking muscles and big fucking shaved head. Jocko Willink. He's amazing. But how has that changed your opinion of like women and like blaming other people and saying like, oh, I'm getting rejected all the time. It's not my fault. Women suck. How has that book helped?
Well, it made me take responsibility. I think it was the big one because I thought to myself, well, I mean, you've seen on my log posts within 80 days or less than that. I think within 50 days of taking ownership of responsibility in my dating and who I talked to on Tinder and stuff, I got lied twice. And I think that's quite respectable. Once every 25 days. That's like almost once a month. So it helped me get results. It helped me see the fact that I'm in control of my own destiny. So I got quite a lot out of it, to be honest. Responsibility was the big one because I mean it's just so easy to just shirk responsibility. It's like
it's so appealing, because it's like it's not my fault. I don't have to be to blame. You're basically saying like I don't have to feel guilty or change anything. I don't have to do anything different because it's not my fault. It's girls' fault. Girls suck. I'm going to whinge about it and complain, but I'm not going to change anything.
It's your fault if you don't like me. I'm 300 pounds overweight. Fat is beautiful, whatever. But it's your fault for not finding me attractive.
Yeah. Or it's people also do it where they go like, oh, 5 girls rejected me, so I guess that's it. I can't go out. And it's like you can take responsibility and play harder. You can go outside and talk to 50 women. You can go on Tinder. If you're already on Tinder, you can pay for a boost. You can install Hinge. You can go on fucking, I don't know, FetLife or something. You can go outside and talk to women. You can go talk to friends through Social Circle. You can go to a bar. You can go to a club. There's always more you can do. If you're skinny and Yeah, there's. It's why I did that podcast where I talked about look for solutions, not problems. Like stop obsessing about problems and start looking for solutions. Every single problem has a solution. It has 50 fucking solutions, and that book is a really good book at teaching you like there's things you can do. Like he even talks about in his leadership roles, the thing that makes him, or one of the things that makes him such an effective leader is he's always looking for the solution. He's like, I don't give a fuck what the problem is. Like he did a really good video called Good. So just look up on YouTube, Good, Jocko Willink. I fucking love that. He says anytime someone gives him a problem, he goes, good. And they're like, what do you mean? But it's a problem. He's like, good. It's an opportunity for growth. We can fucking fix this. We're going to crush it. Let's find out the solution. Good. This is going to make us stronger. Like start seeing problems as like an opportunity, like a chance for growth. Like how do I fix this? How do I learn something? It's like you're going, I say this all the time. Getting laid or any goal really is a free university course. Like every time you get rejected, it's like a free fucking university course. Like you're learning through doing. It's fucking amazing that we get to learn all this shit just by getting rejected, by failing, by learning things, taking responsibility.
Definitely, it's the actual learning that you do. Like, so if you get rejected, you're like, okay, what do I change next time?
Yeah.
For people who sink back into that depression, just give up and say, oh, they don't learn anything. You have to see it for what it is.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there's always something you can do. There's always like 50 things you can do.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about some of your questions? I got all your questions here.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you don't mind, that'd be great.
Let's talk about, so we covered the first question you asked, because for everybody listening at home, I said to you, do you have anything you want to talk about? And you wrote me like a fucking dossier. I really appreciate that. Nobody else does that. They'll just be like, oh, whatever you want to talk about, Andy. And then I got to go and write the notes, which I don't mind doing. Like, but I really fucking appreciate that. I've done none of this podcast. Everybody listening, this is not me. This is fucking Sid. I've done nothing here. You wrote, and it was in a pretty PDF. It was all like spaced out perfectly. So I appreciate that.
It's good seeing the camera ain't being on for this.
Yeah, he's blushing. He's like literally bright red right now. So we answered your first question, which was the girl afterwards saying that she's not, into it. We talked about that. Okay, but we didn't fully finish answering the question, which was you said, how do I stop feeling 100% responsible for girls I have sex with, or should I feel responsible? I think obvious thing to say there is do everything you can. As the guy, I'm assuming you're the one that's taking the lead, so you're like in the more sort of dominant, if you know what I mean. You're the man. You're the one taking the lead. So do everything you can to in that position to be a good leader, so to speak. Be thoughtful. Listen to their advice. Like ask for feedback. Say, hey, we're going to do this. What do you think? I did a podcast called or an article called "How to Take the Lead Without Being Controlling." And all I really said was, first of all, you make the first decision. You ask her if she agrees with it, and then you go through with it. So you say like, hey, do you want to come back to my place and we're going to have sex? Like that's you taking the lead. And if she says no, you go, yeah, that's fine. So if she says yes, you go, great. So taking the lead in a non-controlling way or being a good leader is really just like getting feedback, giving them the opportunity to give you feedback. So in terms of in sex, that's why I said before, just say like, how does that feel? Does that turn you on? Are you feeling good? Like that kind of shit. You don't have to stop and be like, are you feeling okay? Is everything good? But you just, you do it as part of like dirty talk. Like, does that feel fucking good? Like, do you want me to fuck you? Beg me. Like making it a fun thing. Like before you fuck her, say like, beg me to fuck you. Tell me what you want. Make her tell you like, I want your dick. But other than that, and I feel like you're already really doing that shit. So as long as you're doing all that shit, I don't think you have to sit there and be responsible for. It's not your responsibility to mind read, nor can you. And if you try, you just drive yourself insane. And it's not sexy if you're sitting there going like, are you sure you're okay? But you said you're okay. You're not going to regret it in 3 days, right? Like you're not going to change your mind. It's like, what the fuck is this? Like now I'm going to because you're being weird. But
it's turn them off. They probably draw up more worse than the Sahara Desert.
Like the Sahara Desert, brother.
Like
Yep.
Like Gandhi's flip-flop.
Like Gandhi's pee hole. But there's a deeper point to be made here, which is I wouldn't take to heart, and other people on the forums told you this, and we all understood why you took this to heart, because it was a big shock for you. You hadn't gone through all this. You're a decent dude. You don't want the insinuation that you're a bad person. I get all that, but there is a deep lesson here, which is that, You can't be taking responsibility for other people's feelings. As long as you're doing everything you possibly can, you're being a decent person. Yeah, some people won't like it. Some girls won't like having sex with you. Some girls will say, I've had girls say that the sex we have is too intense. I've had others say it wasn't intense enough. So really what we're talking about here is rejection. This is in a weird way like a fear of rejection. You took it personally as a fear, as a rejection that like, oh, I'm a bad person. She's saying I'm a bad person. Some people will. Yeah. They'll say the sex you have is bad. You're not interesting. You're scrawny. You're ugly. You're dumb. You're weird. Like that will come up sometimes. And really what we're saying is knowing who you are, knowing you're a good person, knowing what you are inside. So then if someone else says you're a bad person, yeah, it kind of affects you a little bit. But you go to your friends or you go to the forums like you did and you say, hey guys, just checking. I'm a good person, right? And they'll be like, yeah, dude, of course you are. And you go like, okay. And eventually over time, you want to have that come from you. You want to be able to look your eyes in the mirror and say, I'm a good fucking person. So maybe I can give you that exercise. Go look in the mirror for the next 7 days. Literally look at your own eyes in the mirror, which can be very confronting if you've never done that before, and say, I'm a good person. And just say that 5 times. Or say, I'm a decent dude. Or I like myself. Or I love myself. Or I love you. Eventually work up to I love you. I do that every night without fail. I have for the last month. I look in my eyes in the mirror and I go, I love you. And it's really fucking confronting the first couple of times you do it. You will want to say like, that's gay. I'm being a faggot. What the fuck is this? The fuck is wrong with me? This is the dumbest shit ever. I don't even believe it. I don't love myself as fucking, but like, if you can make yourself do it and not break eye contact, like, holy fuck, man, that's like transformative shit. Cause that's like, now you know who you are and you're like, I like who I am. I fucking like who I am. And if someone else doesn't like that, I fully understand that maybe they have different preferences, different likes. I'm not going to tell them they're wrong. They don't have to like me, but I'm not going to get affected by it. I would like more people to like me, of course, but I'm not going to sit there and go like, why don't they like me? Why are they saying I'm a bad person? It's like, I like me though. That's all right.
No, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Some solid advice there. What I'll do is I'll start on that tomorrow. As soon as I get up, I'll start in the mirror. And,
you might find it confronting.
Yeah,
you might find it confronting, which is probably the biggest advocation for why I say to do it. Because like, what do I always say about fear? It's like
run towards it,
run towards that fucking fear, and not everything. Like I have a fear of going out to play in the middle of the road on the freeway. I'm not going to go play in traffic. I have a fear of that, but. Yeah. For the most part, when it's something that's not going to cause you any harm and you have a fear of it, in fact, people are telling you it will cause you growth, and you're sitting there going like, but that's gay. I don't want to do it. It's like, understand that the phrase that's gay doesn't really mean anything. Like, what the fuck is gay? Gay is you sticking your cock in another man. And even then, what is wrong with that? Like, I mean, I don't want to stick my cock in another man, but like you're just saying like random shit is coming out, and it's really just a defense mechanism because you don't want to do something hard. And so whenever I hear my brain doing that, I'm like, right, fucker, now you have to do it. If you're gonna say stupid shit like, oh, that's gay, that's dumb, it's like, right, sorry, you got to do it now, idiot.
Yeah, shut up, man. We're doing this.
Yeah. That's a really good way to get over the kind of approach anxiety as well. When guys go out to talk to women on the street, all the voices will come in your head. I can't do this. There's people around. There's people watching. What if her friends see? What if she has a boyfriend? What if she says I'm annoying her? It's like you need to hear all these voices and go like, fuck, now I have to do it. I'm literally just being fearful. Fuck, I got to do it. Shit. And then just fucking do it.
Yeah, man, it's crazy the amount of shit your brain says to yourself as well. Like it tries to talk you out of things.
It's a defense mechanism. It is. Like, you got to understand that ego, that voice, those negative beliefs or those limiting beliefs, they're there for a purpose. Like, it's not just your brain being annoying or being stupid or you being a pussy or something. It's trying to keep you safe. Because if you don't do things that are hard, like, if we could, and I know you're not capable of it, most people listening are not capable of this, but if we could somehow just sit on the couch and watch Netflix and eat fucking, I don't know, frozen meals from the food, get Uber Eats every night and just work a job that's like easy but pays the bills. If we could just do that every day, that would be very safe. Like, probably nothing bad's going to happen to us. That's probably way safer than the shit we're doing. It probably is safer, but you're not going to have an elite life, but it will keep you safe. And so you got to understand that voice, those limiting beliefs, those beliefs that say, that voice that says, don't do this, it's hard, sit at home, stay safe, be complacent. That's trying to protect you. That is trying to give you a safe life. Your ego's number one mission is to keep you alive. It's not to give you an elite, dangerous life.
Yeah.
Or an elite life. Yes. And so that ego isn't a bad thing. It's just, you got to understand that it's like your parent. I think of my ego as like an overprotective parent. It's your parents saying like, "Oh, honey, don't go to the playground because you might fall and hurt yourself." And so that voice is like loving. It's just at some point you got to shed it and say, "I'm an adult right now. It's okay if I fail. It's okay if I fuck up." Especially, man, when we live in the Western world, like nothing bad is going to happen. You go outside and talk to women, nothing bad will happen. The worst case scenario I could ever think of ever is like a police officer coming and saying, "Hey, don't talk to women." And you go, "Okay, officer, I understand." And you leave. Like that's a word. It's not going to put you in jail because you talk to, unless you're going up and saying, "Hey, show me your fucking cunt, pussy, bitch. Show me your fucking hole." Like, and if you're doing that, sure. Even then you wouldn't get arrested. They'd say, "You need to move on. You haven't broken the law." So nothing you're ever going to do is going to get you in that much trouble. Like, but you have that ego protection, which is like, "But you might die." Your ego goes, "You might die," and it's like, "No, I'll be okay."
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree.
Someone now is going to go outside and test that, I bet you. Someone's going to go outside and go up to a woman and be like, "Show me that fucking hole, pussy, cunt. Show me a pussy." In front of a police officer. Like outside the police. They'll do it to a police officer.
Probably. No.
I feel like the cop
won't be me.
The cop would just be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you okay?" Like, what are you doing?
I did arrest someone once because they got their cock out in front of a girl, but and then not for saying something like that. I'll just tell them to stop being stupid and move on.
Yeah. Move on is like the answer to most problems, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Next question.
Bad relationships.
Yeah, move on. Your next question is, I recently... Hey, it was kind of. You said, "I moved on. I took a 1-month break from dating. Do you think that taking a short break from dating is a good idea and can be beneficial? I know you took 7 months off. So Andy, took 7 months off after I completed the approach anxiety program and regretted it." Yeah, I was taking a month off from fear. I didn't intentionally take 7 months off, remember? It was that I was terrified to go and actually start talking to women. I was terrified to start that next chapter. So it wasn't so much taking time off, which is what you did. You took a short break after the thing with the girl who said she regretted it. You said, "I just want a month to clear my head." I know you even wrote, "I know a lot of you are going to tell me not to do this. I know you're going to tell me to keep putting myself out there. I understand. I just want a month off." You were still doing things every day. You took action every day. You were making changes. You're still posting on your log, and you're back in it now, right? Like you've started slowly. Yeah. So did you even take a month off?
I think I took 2 weeks off. But I'm back on Hinge, Bumble, Tinder now. I've bought Hinge Premium, which was expensive.
So it's not even a month off. Yeah. You said I took a month break. No, you didn't. You took like 2 weeks. But this. Yeah. So the thing I'll say is, as long as you're doing something, then great. And even if that something, by the way, is if you say, "I've busted my ass for like, a year, 2 years. I just need a break." Or even 6 months. I've had a crazy 6 months where I've just gone hard. I just want 2 weeks where I just go sit on the beach and just watch the ocean and meditate and have a chill time. That's still doing something. That's still enjoying your life. And so what I'm saying is time off is always like, I recommend it as long as you're not going backwards. Just make sure you don't go backwards. So don't take a month off and sit there and drink whiskey every day and sit in your underwear jerking off to porn and hating women and you don't go to work and you do nothing. Like, that's not time off. That's time backwards. So taking time off to either recharge, reheal, or do other shit or focus on a different mission, as long as you're moving forwards. Because this is something that comes up a lot. Guys will say, should I focus on getting laid or should I focus on my career? Those are the things that guys usually try and discuss. And they'll say, "I want to switch from one to the other, but is that bad? Like, should I just focus on one for the next 3 years?" My answer is always, with some caveats, as long as you're not doing it out of fear, or as long as you are doing something. Like if you switch to working on your career, as long as you're actually really working on your career and not just like spinning your wheels because you're scared to go out and talk to women, if you're actually making progress and enjoying it and doing something, like there isn't one path forward. It doesn't have to be. Now, I do recommend dating first. Other people say something different. Caleb Jones says that's the dumbest thing ever. Focus on making money first. So it's just a preferences thing. I think you shouldn't be too hard on yourself for taking 2 weeks off. I probably would have done the same thing, honestly, if I was you. If I was you in your position back, at the start of my journey, I would have taken a month off too. Like I would have
Okay.
done that. I probably would have done a lot less than you did too. I would have sat at home drinking whiskey every day. Like that's the honest truth. I would have, and I would have regretted that. But
Yeah. I think I bounced back a lot
yeah,
quicker than I thought I would. And I owe
yeah,
that to you and the guys on the forums. So really grateful for
because
that to everybody.
you did the one thing that I tell this to my guys in my coaching program, and I'm going to say about 50% of them do it and 50% of them don't. You did the one thing that you're supposed to do when you take time off, which is still keep fucking posting. So many people will just like take a week off or take a couple of weeks off and just leave. They go out into the wilderness. They don't post. They don't say how they're going. They don't ask for help. They don't talk about what they're feeling. They don't process anything. So, and then they come back and it's like, fuck, now I have to make up for the 2 weeks that I just had off and talk about everything that happened. And I self-medicated during that whole time. So now we got to talk about that too. And we got to catch up. Whereas you were still doing shit that entire time. You posted every fucking day. You were reading books. You were you say time off. Everyone else would look at that and be like, dude, it wasn't time off. You just didn't go on any dates. Like you were literally still working on yourself.
It was hard to do it. It was hard to post, but I thought, no, I can't just, because if I don't post, I'm just going to sink back into doing nothing.
You will.
Yeah.
Because one day will turn into, like you won't post one day, you'll go, fuck it, I won't post today. And then it will be 2, and then 5, and then, it's Christmas time, so I'm busy. It's New Year's Eve, so I'm busy. And then before you know it, it's fucking mid-January, and you're like, shit, I got to come back. And some guys just never come back. That's why I say at the start, especially, you're past this point, but in the early days when you first join either my forums or coaching or just any self-improvement thing, like you got to fucking consistency has to be the main habit above all else. Definitely. Like I even say for guys who are going outside to start talking to women, I say just go outside every day. Just stay out on the front lines. I don't even care if you don't talk to women. You need to just build a habit of going outside. Once that's a habit, you're fine. So it's a good habit that you kept up for sure.
No, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Kept me sane anyway. It did help.
It keeps you tethered. It keeps you tied into the community, to other people doing the same thing, to your goal. It kind of keeps that dream alive. You're like, even if I'm not going outside, even if I'm not like working on my dating life right now, I'm taking 2 weeks or a month or whatever off, I've still kept that flame alight. Every day I post, I have that hope. I know I'm gonna go and I have that fire still lit. But if you put that out, like if you take a week off, you got to relight that fucking flame. It's why the same thing with the gym. Like I went to the gym on, okay, this is going to sound like a brag. How do I phrase this not like a brag? I'm very grateful to myself. There you go. That's how, by the way, that's how you don't brag. You just use the word grateful.
Smooth.
I'm very grateful that I have the support of my friends and family and my coach, and that on Christmas Day I went to the gym. There you go. Because that's something I never would have fucking done in the past, but I had a choice. Like, should I go to the gym? It's fucking Christmas. The gym is closed. There'll be almost no one there. There was like 10 people in the whole gym. It was like fucking dead. But I was like, no, I think I want to keep this habit up. Like, I want this to be a consistent habit. I'm going to go to the gym on fucking New Year's, like, morning as well. I'm going to be fucking dead tired and do like almost nothing when I'm there. But like, if you can keep that habit up, keep that dream alive, you don't have to relight that fire 2 days later. Imagine if I have Christmas off and then the day after Christmas off, and then I probably wouldn't have gone to the gym yesterday or today because I would have been like, can't be, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
It blurs into one. It blurs into one and you lose track. Yeah, definitely.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
You've pussied out, or you've made an excuse once, so it's so much easier the next day, and then you're also making it harder to get back on the wagon. You're making it harder. You now have to fight against all that inertia when you go back 5 days later.
It's like Joe Rogan says, 90% of it's just showing up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Love Joe Rogan.
He's a good lad. He's a good lad.
Yeah, man. Awesome show. But yeah, 90% of it's just showing up. Yeah. And then whilst you're there, you just work. It's like you say, we're going out and doing the AA program, as long as the guys go outside, or as long as you just show up at the gym,
Yeah.
And okay, I might as well do one barbell curl or whatever while I'm here, and that's how the habits get built.
It's better than nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Next question is, you said, I constantly worry about getting someone pregnant despite always using condoms. Yeah, this was my biggest fear before I had my vasectomy too. This was part of the reason that I had a vasectomy. I'd always wanted one, but this was like the push because I couldn't relax, which is what you go on to talk about. You say like, I've even had a couple of friends with benefits that it just didn't work out because I was just too cautious and too terrified and shit. So do you have any advice on how to stop stressing over this? So, I mean, I I don't think you're going to do this, but the vasectomy for me really helped. You have to know you don't want kids. You have to know you're the person that doesn't want kids. I would never recommend that. I hope no one listening goes like, oh, I should get a vasectomy because Andy did. No, get a vasectomy because you've always wanted one or you know what you want. That's kind of a cop-out answer because that's what fixed it for me. So I was like, even if a condom breaks, I'm fine. It's all good.
Yeah.
I did have one condom break one time when I came in the condom, which was something that I didn't usually do because I was so afraid. And one time I was like, fuck it, this girl is so stupid hot, literally the hottest girl I've ever slept with at this point in time. I think I wrote about it in one of my lay reports, maybe. And the condom broke. And I didn't know until after she'd left. And I was cleaning up. And the condom had like no cum in it. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I didn't cum. And it's like on the floor. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, that's weird. And the floor's kind of wet and sticky. And I'm like, oh, maybe it's just like her pussy juice on the outside of the condom or something. And the floor's really wet. And I pick it up and there's a hole in the end of it. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, shit.
Oh my, like I fucking had a panic attack and shit. And so I literally, she's on her way home. I text her like fucking 15 messages. I call her. I'm like, yo. And like, she doesn't answer. I call her like 5 times. I'm like, answer the phone, answer the fucking phone, answer the phone. And like, she pulls over and in her car and she's like calling. She's like, what's up? And I was like, are you on the pill? And she's like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, okay, listen. Okay. And I'm like fucking dying. And I'm like, listen, I the condom broke and I came in you and there's cum in you. And I need you to go to the doctor place and I need you to get a Plan B pill. I will come with you. I will pay for it. I will rock up. And she's like, everything's okay. She was really sweet, actually. She was like really nice. She's like, it's okay. I will go. And I was like, I want to come with you just so I can trust you, just so I can feel better. And she's like, I promise you, I will go. I will take a selfie in there so you can see it. I will take a photo of the pill and then I will take it. And I was like, okay, can I trust you? And she's like, yes, I don't want to get pregnant either, dumbass. Like, I'm not ready. She was like 20 or something. She's like, I don't want a kid at 20. I fucking. But so she did all that. She took a picture. She took a selfie. She took the pill. Like, we then went and got her a pregnancy test like a week later or whatever. She's like, no, see, it's not pregnant. So that was my freak out. And I think, funnily enough, what helped with that is that was the worst case scenario that ever could have happened. And it wasn't that bad. And that was like nightmare scenario. And so I'm not telling you to be lazy or complacent or to not care. It's not that big a deal, bro. Like, but I would remind you that worst case thing that could ever happen, if you trust the girls that you're sleeping with, they will get a Plan B pill. And so maybe that's worth talking about. Talk to most of the girls and say, listen, you don't have to do this on the first date, but maybe you can if it makes you feel a little better. Or talk about it after you've slept with them once or twice and just say like, look, you know, I'm kind of a little freaked out with like condoms and pregnancy and shit like that. What would you do if the condom ever broke? And if she goes, well, I don't believe in the Plan B pill, then stop seeing her immediately. If she says, oh, well, like, I don't know, what should we do? And you say like, well, would you come with me and we'd get the Plan B pill? And she'd be like, yeah, I can do that. We'd do that. Of course we do that. I don't want to get pregnant. Like, have that fucking conversation just so that you can relax a little bit. Because, you know, and I guess another thing to say is don't sleep with any girls that you don't trust. Don't sleep with crazy girls. Don't sleep with a girl that you think might like not get a pill or something. Or a girl who isn't responsible.
Baby trap, yeah.
Not even, I mean, yes, baby trap, but not even that. Because like you'll screen those girls out if you just get rid of crazy girls anyway. But I mean more a girl that you can't fully trust. Like she doesn't seem responsible. Like she seems like she'd be like, oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Like don't sleep with those girls. And so having this conversation will probably make you feel better. In terms of practical things, obviously just make sure the condoms perfectly fit. Make sure they're the right size so they don't roll down. If it makes you feel better, come in her mouth or something. But like, so I never came in the condoms apart from like that time. Maybe there's like 5 times ever that I came in condoms because but I mean, even then come in condoms if you want to, like, I wouldn't let this ruin you. At some point, you have to kind of... Black Dragon or Caleb Jones has a really good article where he says, if something has a less than 2% chance of happening, don't freak out about it. It's not worth your time and stress. And this is something that's way less than 2% chance.
Yeah. Okay.
Every story that you read, or most of the stories you read about, like a guy getting a girl pregnant and his life is over, it's like they weren't wearing condoms and they fucked each other like 50 times. And she said, I promise I'm on the pill. Yeah. So you're already doing the thing that I would tell most people to do, which is wear a fucking condom.
Yeah.
So don't ever fuck a girl without a condom. That's your answer. You're already doing that. Unless it's a girl that you've dated for a long time. I would say like 5 or 6 months, and you trust her, and she's on the pill, and she shows you that she takes the pill every day, or she has the implant, and you trust it. And even then, like, you're still kind of signing over your responsibility to her. You have to understand that you're fucked if she decides to keep the baby, if she gets pregnant.
Yeah, I'd still rub her up. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
have done in the past when, oh, don't worry, I'm on the pill. It's like, nah, I'm rubbing up, sorry.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah, if that's a problem, I'm out. That's my non-negotiable.
Yes. I've had some girls that say like, I don't like. Yeah, I've had some girls that say I don't like wearing condoms, and even though I can't get them pregnant, I'm just like, but I don't know you, so I'm going to wear condoms.
Yeah.
And then you'll get some girls that are just like, oh, and you're like, I don't fucking know you. Like, I'm going to wear a condom. I don't care if it feels better. Yeah, I agree. It feels better. We can do that when I've seen when I've seen you for long enough. You've got to test all that kind of shit. But yeah. Exactly. So I would say with girls that you see for a long time, like I said, 6 months, definitely a year or something. You trust it. You're basically girlfriend, boyfriend at that point. So that may be a different story, but yeah. As in, you might be comfortable if she takes the pill, but I'd still make sure she's taking it and shit like that. And even then, I've dated girls that were on the pill, and I could relax. I'd say I could relax, but it took a little bit of trust. And we had to have the conversation of like, would you get an abortion? And they're like, of course I would get a fucking abortion. Like, but if they say like, oh, I don't believe in abortions, it's like, condoms forever then. Like,
yeah. Exactly. No, thanks for that, Andy. I really appreciate it, man.
All good?
Yeah. Definitely made me feel better.
Good. Because it's one of those things that's like, don't sit there and like stress too much about it. Because you'll ruin the fun that you're going to have. And it doesn't have a huge chance of happening. You want to be careful of it. I'm not telling anyone to fuck without a condom. Unless it's someone that you trust and you've been together for 6 months and all that kind of shit. And you know what you're doing and you have a backup.
Oh, yeah. And stress is contagious because if you stress and then she starts thinking, she's got pregnant or something.
Yeah.
It's just a nightmare all round.
Next question is going to be a super quick one. You say, here's a modern problem. In the age of social media and dopamine, I've been on a couple of dates where the girl has gotten her phone out. I usually say, hey, you're dating me, not the phone, and I call them out on it. If they keep doing it, I walk. I've heard how a few other people deal with this, but I'm curious as to what your thoughts were, how you would handle it if she got it out on a date. How does that happen? It's funny because you then say, I presume this has probably happened to you in the past too at some point with the amount of dates you've been on. I don't know if it has. It must have happened. Yeah, because I'm going to give you the answer that you're not going to expect, which is I'm going to say, why do you give a shit? Like, why do you care? Why is her attention so important to you that she's on her phone for 2 seconds and you feel uncomfortable? Or is it an insecurity thing? Is she talking to someone cooler than me? Is she not that into me? Am I not that important? Like, all of those kind of thoughts. Like, your ego is going like, she shouldn't be on her phone. She's disrespecting me. She should be like focusing on me. You're on a date with me, not the fucking phone. Whereas for me, and now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, the chick that we saw chicks pull their phone out all the time when I'm on dates because they're showing me something, but they will be messaging a friend. A lot of the time they're messaging their mother or something or their friend or saying like, hey, I'm going to be a little longer, or sometimes they're organizing a friend that they're going to see after they finish the date with us. And so they're texting. I care so little because I'm just like, well, she's on the date with me. She likes me. I'll give her I'm on my phone all the time anyway, not on a date, but it doesn't bother me. And so I would do some reflection on that. And fair enough, like in the early stages, you do feel very susceptible to insecurity. Like if a girl pulls her phone out, you're like, oh my God, it's because I'm boring. Whereas me, because I'm comfortable, because I've been on a lot of dates and stuff, I'm like, oh, she needs to text someone. Or maybe she has a fucking phone addiction or blah, like I almost don't care. And I'll just sit there and drink my drink, or maybe I'll talk to her, or maybe I'll just stare out the window and look at the people that pass by, or I'll just do some meditating or something. Now, if she was on her phone for like half of the fucking date. Yeah,
that's what I mean, yeah.
Okay. So you're saying they're on their phone for more than just like 2 minutes?
Oh yeah, I can forgive 2 minutes. That's nothing to know. But if she's texting mum or something, but I've had it where I've dated girls and they've just been on there like for like half the date, like half an hour.
Okay.
They just give me one word replies like, yeah, okay, yeah. When I'm
the medium is the message. Then at that point, she's not that into you. And so part of that will just be screening. Like you'll get better at figuring. This is why I did an article on time wasters, like girls who are kind of wasting your time. And one of the things I said is if she gives you 1 or 2 word answers on Tinder, or if you're talking to her on the street, that's a deal breaker for me. Like if she doesn't write at least 2 sentences or something, if she's not putting in effort, that's a deal breaker to me. So screening those girls out will help with that. But yeah, for sure. That hasn't happened to me in a long time. Like, I don't think that's ever happened to me. A girl that was on her phone because I would just leave. And I do it in a polite way. I'd just be like, oh, hey, it doesn't seem like you're really feeling the chemistry. Like, no hard feelings. If so, just tell me. And then they'll be like, no. And I'll just be like, no, it's fine. Like, we'll end the date. Like, so yes, I would end those dates for sure. If it's a couple of minutes, I wouldn't stress about it. Like I don't even notice that, like I said. But yeah, if she's on there for a long time, the second thing I'll say is maybe it's just an inexperienced thing. Like when you're at the start, like you're inexperienced is what I mean. When you're at the start of all this shit, I think if we videoed a date with me, like a date that I'm on, and then videoed a date that you went on, I think every single person, there'd be some exceptions, but every single person would say, wow, Andy's dates are way more fun. And I'm not doing anything. I'm not trying to. I'm just comfortable with it because I've done it so many times. And so I'm going to be more relaxed. I'm going to be funnier. Now, if I'm super tired or something, sure, it'll be a shitty day. I can't be bothered. Like, fine. But on my average day is going to be better than your average day. And so maybe there's a little bit of that. So in terms of what you can do about that, the answer is really just go on more dates and you'll get more relaxed. But if you go through my Tinder guide, I do have a bunch of different ways to make the date fun. And maybe try some of that if you want to. I wouldn't sit there and stress about, oh my God, is she having fun? Like, oh my God, am I doing a good job? But if you just do like a couple of little fun things, maybe you go sit in a park and fucking comment on all the strangers that walk past and make up backstories. Yeah, like that kind of shit. Walk around the city high-fiving random strangers. Do some of the drills from the approach anxiety program with her. Ask her sex questions. Ask her questions about sex. Like ask her questions that she's never asked or she's never answered before. If she's on her phone, be like, yo, put the phone down for a second. I want to ask you something. She puts the phone down and you're like, are you afraid of death? And she'll be like, what? And you'll be like, when you think about dying, does it like terrify you?
Yeah.
Or ask her a question like, what's your meaning of life? What's your purpose? Why are you here? Like, what are you actually doing here? The fuck are you doing here? Why are you alive? Like, don't tell me some bullshit like, oh, I'm going to university. Like, what do you actually fucking want? What do you want to, when you're on your deathbed, what are you going to be afraid of not having achieved? Like, ask her those kind of questions. And I'm not saying like it's your mission to jump through the hoops and be the most entertaining person. You're not a monkey or anything, but maybe just a little bit more fun that might solve the problem. But it's going to be a combination of things. It's going to be like walking away from the date, screening those girls out earlier, having a little more fun on the dates. Yeah. I suspect as you get more experienced and get better at it, a lot of these problems go away just by doing it. Like, honestly. Like, because again, this wouldn't even be a problem for me. If I even somehow got a girl out on a date with me who was looking at her phone the entire time, which I would have screened those girls out already, most likely. If she was looking at her phone a bunch, I would literally I'd be like, hey, like, how come you're looking at your phone so much? Like, is everything okay? Like, what's going on? Like, do you have to message someone or something? Is your friend like? I would want to know like, why are you on your phone? And not like as a fucking accusatory thing. I'd just be like, are you okay? Like, you're on your phone for half the date. Like, what's up? Like, if you don't want to be here, we can go. Or if there's something that's taking your attention, we can meet again another time or something. So it wouldn't even happen. Like after 15 minutes, after 10 minutes on her phone, I'd be like, hey, what's up? Like, what are you doing? Like, is everything okay? So. Yeah, these kind of problems kind of fade into the background just with confidence, really, which is just practice.
Okay. I best get dieting in there. Yeah, that should take care of that one.
It's why, bro, it's why I did that article. It's why I did that article. The solution to all your problems is to go talk to more women. And that's the answer to almost any goal as well. The solution to building more muscle is just go to the gym more. The solution to building a business is to just fucking do it more, have more clients, practice more, do more content. Like, just do more, practice more, because you'll make a million mistakes. You get more confident. And like I said, half these problems just go away with confidence because you'll just speak, you just say, hey, what are you doing? Or hey, what's going on? Or hey, it looks like you're not into this. Or hey, so that's the solution.
No, thanks for that, man. I appreciate it.
All good. Next question. I love this one. I'm going to do a podcast on this at some point. Is it better to text girls back ASAP? I normally give it a few hours or I wait until the next day, as I want to appear like I'm having a lot going on in my life and that my time is valuable. I don't want to come across as a thirsty simp. So I've in the past, I've said you can text them back like whenever you remember. Like that's usually what I do. So sometimes I will text back within 5 minutes. Sometimes I will text back like fucking 3 hours later. Sometimes like the next day. So I don't want to give a hard and fast rule. I will say if you're replying to every text that she sends within like 1 to 3 minutes, like in a row, like every text she sends, you reply within 3 minutes, I think that's probably not good for your self-esteem. Because what happens is you're sitting there waiting for her and your brain is going to go, how come she's not replying back? I'm replying immediately. How come she isn't? She must be she must be talking to other guys. I mustn't be cool. It's like, no, she's just like not looking at her phone and you are. Like, and that's not a good thing. Like, because you should have other shit. You want to have other shit going on.
Yeah. And it's like, is your life so boring that you just got to sit by the phone all day?
Yeah, it's not good for your self-esteem. And yes, from her point of view, it probably does give the impression, or it definitely gives the impression of like, he doesn't have anything to do. He's just going to give me free attention and like, he's not doing anything else. He's just waiting by the phone for me to text. And that's a weird feeling for the other person. It's almost like then she can't respect you, so why would she go on a date with you? It's hard to respect the person that replies immediately all the time, always. Now, I will say, I think that when it happens in reverse, like when a girl replies to every single message, they get a little more leeway with it.
Yeah.
Like, but at some point, because I've had girls that reply to everything, at some point your brain does go, doesn't she have something better to do? Or shouldn't she be like busy or something? And you'll probably, yeah. And if it goes on too long, at some point you'll probably, if it's a girl you're seeing for quite a while, you know, I had this with Imogen early on. I mean, she had a lot of stuff she was already doing, but I would just encourage her. I'd say like, hey, you know, you want to keep busy. Like, don't just sit around waiting for me to hang out and stuff like that. And she was like, okay, I appreciate that. I will. So, yeah. But generally speaking, it's fine to reply immediately as long as you're not doing it all the fucking time.
Okay.
So just keep busy. In terms of like waiting, some guys do the opposite. You didn't ask this question, but some guys will say, I wait several days to reply. No, now it just looks like you don't give a fuck. Like, why would she meet someone that doesn't give a fuck? If a girl takes several days to reply to you, are you excited to meet her? It's like, fuck.
No, they get unmatched. You know?
Yeah. Like, why am I going to wait several days? Like, I'm going to go meet the other chicks that reply to me within a day or within a couple of hours or something. So don't go so far in that direction. But sure, like replying a few hours, like that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just whenever you get around to it, basically. The one thing I will say, which is like this is a special case. If you know, like this has happened with us, especially over Christmas and New Year's, girls can't meet because they're away. So you match with them on Tinder and they're away for 7 days. What I do is as you're texting, like as you're going through the template of like setting up a date or something, I will take a long time to reply. Not as like a game or something like that, but because like we're not seeing them for 7 days. If I know I'm not seeing her for 7 days, I don't need to just like blow my load right there and then and message all the fucking texts within the first, day. So I will space them out. Maybe I text her in the morning, she might reply within an hour or two, and then I'll just, in the evening, I'll be like, oh yeah, I should have replied to her. Like, it's more slow-paced, if you know what I mean, because it's like, yeah, I'm going to see her in 7 days. I don't need to reply everything right away, because then we'd run out of shit to say. I'm fine with, like, slowing it down a little bit, so then it's not, like, 6 days of no contact or something. Or the opposite, where you say everything you need to say, and then you're still not seeing her for another 6 or 7 days, and then you think like, should I keep her like on the hook? Am I supposed to text her? But like, what do I text her? Like, it's boring now. We've said everything we wanted to say that was interesting. Do I just make some shit up? Like, there's now that pressure to say something interesting and keep her on the hook and all that. So I just slow it down. I just reply like once a day, maybe twice a day. We did that with the broken foot girl that we saw, because that was like 2 or 3 weeks. One. Yeah. So we just text like once a day, and she texts us once a day. And it was kind of cool. It's like, okay, good. Like, we're still talking, but it's like slow paced. And I've done that in the past.
Boundary respect as well, I think.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Just don't give you shit for not replying.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, like I said, if you take too many days, I think that's just, it just looks like you're not interested. Like
yeah,
it just
you got to find that happy medium.
Yeah.
No, thanks for that, man.
Next question is, I worry a lot about not being good enough and I feel very inadequate when dating girls, but especially sleeping with them. Do you have any advice on overcoming these feelings of inadequacy? Join my coaching program. The reason that I say that, I'm half joking, but the reason I say that is like, that's fucking like every single one of my clients. There's a bunch of them right now at this point, like literally talking in the group coaching sessions, talking about this exact fucking thing. Like, I feel inadequate. I don't feel good enough. I'm overweight. I did this. The thing that I'll say is, go find examples of guys who are either as good looking as you, like as like on your level, if you know what I mean, or maybe they have about the same experience you have. You can even look at me when I was at the start and say, can I find examples of these guys that can get laid when they're roughly at my level? And there's plenty of examples out there. And then if they can do it, why couldn't I? Like, so basically you don't have to be maxed out. Like, you won't be maxed out. I'm not maxed out. I wasn't maxed out I was even less maxed out for most of my lays. And, you know, I jokingly said, join my fucking coaching program. Half the guys in there right now, you'll see, I've done interviews with some of them on my channel.
Yeah.
Ed was a really good example, but I've done even recent ones. You'll see half of them are like not, how do I phrase this nicely? They're fat. Like I've done quite a few with guys that are chubby, probably at exactly your level, probably fatter than you actually, because I know you're not fat. But there's
I'm not
a podcast.
10 stone.
Yeah, there's a podcast coming out it'll be released on my YouTube in January at some point. I think like 10th of January or something. With the guy, I think I called it something like this guy got laid within 10 minutes of meeting a girl. I think that's the title. And he's like overweight. He's not obese or anything, but he's like chubby. And you'll see that he got laid. And so you look at him and you're like, okay, if this guy can get laid and he felt inadequate, he didn't feel like good enough, then maybe I don't need to feel good enough. Like because a lot of the time your self-esteem catches up afterwards. You'll get laid 10 times before you go like, oh, I deserve to get laid. So it's like for all of those 10 lays, you felt inadequate, but you still got laid. Like don't sit there and think that that you have to feel deserving or that you have to have a sense of entitlement or you have to feel worthy. You won't. You'll feel that afterwards. A lot of the time your ego takes a while to catch up, or your self-esteem takes a while to catch up. So in terms of like actual advice, remind yourself it's okay to feel inadequate. I did. I felt like an imposter for the longest time. And those feelings will go away as you. One thing to do is just to get laid more. The second thing is, like I said, that thing where you look in the mirror and say like, I like myself. That can help. And the third thing is like, write a list of things that I don't know if you'd say grateful for, things that are good about you. I got one of my coaching clients to do this. I got him to write 50 reasons why he's likable. And like, it was fucking hard for him. He could do the first 30 and then he's like, I'm really struggling. So I got him to ask his friends and family. And you say to them, you don't say, why do you like me? You say, why am I likable? Or why would someone like me? Or why would women like me? Why am I worth liking? You say that, and you get like, so that's what I'd recommend to you. Go and do that. Write your own list and then get everyone else to write their own list for you as well. You can even post that on the forums, dude. Say, can you guys, Eddie gave me this exercise. Can you guys tell me why I would be likable? Like what's likable about me? And when you go through all that, you'll see that you have like 50 fucking or 100 different traits that are worth liking that women would like about you. Like, and so if you're sitting there going, yeah, but I'm not like huge and muscular and I don't look like a god and I'm not like a fucking 10-foot, muscle fucking legend. You'll see that shit doesn't matter because it's like, yeah, but I have all this other shit. Maybe all this other shit is just as, if not more important than fucking being a handsome hunk of coal. Like, so that's the easiest way to almost like convince yourself. Like you're looking for evidence there. You're saying, I need evidence that I'm not inadequate, that girls would want to sleep with me. You can even ask some of the girls that you sleep with. After you've slept with them a few times, when they'll be honest with you, when you're lying in bed after you've just fucked each other's brains out, say like, what do you like about me? Or what's likable about me? And then she'll give you a list of like, she'll give you a list of like 10 or 15 things. And you'll be like, that's really cool. Thank you. And then you can tell her some things that are nice about her, but that's probably, or you can even say like, what made you want to sleep with me? I said that to Imogen. I've asked Imogen these questions, like, why do you like me? What made you want to sleep with me? What do you like about me? And the things they say are things that you don't know about yourself, or you're not conscious of yourself. It'll be things like, you're always really confident. Imogen has said, you're always really confident and you know exactly what you're doing all the time. And I'm like, no, I fucking don't. And she's like, yeah, but you appear that way. And it's like, oh, okay. Or she'll say, like, the girl might say, compared to me, you're really confident and I really admire that. Or you're older and I really respect that. Or I like the way you fucking groom your beard. Like, it'll be shit you hadn't even thought of. And you're like, oh, this is cool. This is good feedback. So getting that fucking feedback can start taking away that feeling of inadequacy, because you're more than adequate. You've already had sex. You have fucking evidence that you're adequate enough to have sex with girls. And for anyone listening, even if you haven't had sex, if you're a fucking virgin, it doesn't matter. Go find this evidence so you can start convincing yourself, like, okay, I'm allowed to do this. I deserve to do this.
Yeah.
And the Good Looking Loser article will really help. He did one. Good Looking Loser read an article called She's Probably Fucked a Guy Uglier Than You. That's the best article I can give on this topic.
I love that.
It's the best fucking article ever. Like, she's fucked a guy that was less adequate than you. So a big part of getting laid is being in the right place at the right time. You don't have to be the right guy. If you walk up to women in the street, a lot of them will tell you, no one has ever hit on me in public directly before. I'm going to give you my number, like, literally just because you're the only fucking guy that has ever asked me. One of my coaching clients, the guy that I'm working with right now, his first lay, like his first lay in person, was like, he didn't know what the fuck he was doing. He was so nervous and just, he did a terrible fucking job. But it's like, he's the first guy that's asked her. And he was just in the right place at the right time. And she's lonely and single. And like, she's like, sure. And he's been seeing her now for like 6 weeks or something. Like, he really likes her. They had plenty of crazy sex and shit together. And it's like, just because he fucking asked.
That's awesome.
So you don't have to be like the king of all this shit. You don't have to be maxed out. You don't have to be like amazing. It's like, just ask enough women, and some of them will literally be walking around, or they'll be on Tinder at that exact moment in time, and their brain will be going, whichever guy asks me out directly, like properly actually says, what's your number? Let's go on a date. Whichever guy says it first, I'm going on a date with him. And you come along and you're not perfect. You're not maxed out, but she's like, yeah, but he's confident. And you think, I'm not confident. It's like, yes, you were. You were confident enough to take a shot, so that's confident. It's like, you just get it because you fucking asked for it. A lot of, I've said the same with my coaching. Like, people pay me for coaching because I asked for it. Like, I put it out there that I do coaching. Some people will say, yes, here you go, here's some money, help me, let's change my fucking life. Like, I get paid not because I'm the best fucking coach, not because I'm the best counselor or the best human being in the world or anything. It's like, because I fucking asked for it. And half of my lays, it's like, I just happen to rock up at the right time. I've had girls say to me, you're not the usual, you're not the kind of guy I usually go for, which is a very nice way of saying you're fucking ugly or you're not hot, right? I go for hot, and I'll say, what kind of guy do you normally go for? And they'll say, well, takes care of himself in the gym. And I'm like, oh, fuck me. Okay. So like attractive, right? And they're like,
yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. But it's like, but she'll fuck you because you asked. You had more confidence than half of the guys. And that's the other thing to say. You have more confidence than half of the guys that look infinitely better than you. And so all the girls are sitting there masturbating over those like shirtless fucking hunks of muscle. They're literally going like, fuck, why won't he ask me out? And he's like, he's too much of a pussy. And they get frustrated. And then they come to you because you fucking asked. And they'll go, sure, at least fucking Sid has a pair of balls between his legs and he'll probably fuck me. That hot guy wouldn't know his way around a pussy because he's not ever trying.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, man. I like that story about the guy who he got laid pretty quick when, just when he went and approached him. He must have some balls. And that's the thing. You got to give yourself permission to suck.
Yes. Yes. And he's the king of like being humble enough to give himself permission to suck. He sucked at the start. He'll probably listen to this actually. He fucking sucked at the start. He was so fucking bad. After the first like 20 approaches he did, he's like, he wasn't getting any numbers. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, how are you, like, what are you actually saying? Are you asking for their number? And he goes like, oh no, should I? And I was like, fuck me, dude. So it's like, he was so, and he just like, he started out, and I'm not saying that to joke about him. I'm just saying like at the start, he was so fucking terrible. He'd be the first person to tell you how fucking awful he was. And it's like, but it doesn't matter. He just asked like, I think it was like his 50th approach was the girl that he slept with. So it's like, he just had the balls to fucking do it a bunch of times. Terribly, doesn't fucking matter. and that girl slept with him not because he's the best or because he's the most adequate. It's like he was like one of the least adequate guys ever, and he would tell you that. He's chubby, like he dressed like shit at the start. He dresses really well now. He dressed like shit for most of the first like 30 approaches. It's like he's the least adequate. He hadn't had sex in like 9 fucking years. Like he's in his mid-30s, like least confident, couldn't make eye contact with women, like least confident, least deserving, like adequate person ever. But like he still played the game, and guess what? He accidentally won. You will accidentally win because you're playing the game.
Yeah.
There's a look this up on YouTube, and anyone listening, look this up on YouTube. It was a skating guy in the Olympics. He was an Australian skater. I think his name was Bradbury or something. I may be making that up, but just look up Olympic skater, winner, Australia, fall down or something like that. And basically this guy was coming last. It's the speed skating where they go in a circle, like, 50 fucking laps or whatever. And in the last couple of laps, he's coming last. He just fucking sucks ass. He's like from Australia. We don't have snow here, bro. We have snow like on the fucking mountains. That's it. There's no fucking where to practice your little speed skating in Australia. So we're shit at the sport. And he's coming dead last. And in like the second last lap, the person who's coming first falls over. And every single other person falls over except this Australian guy who is so far behind, he's like half a lap behind or some shit, that he's like, he has a chance to dodge them all. And they're all trying to like scramble and get up, and they're fucking twisted in each other and hurt, and they're trying to like crawl their way over the line, and he wins. He won like the gold fucking medal because he just played, he participated in the race. He wasn't the best.
Yeah.
He didn't deserve. Who gives a fuck? He has a gold medal. When he's got that gold medal around his neck, do you think he's like, I don't deserve this, I'm inadequate? He's like, gold medal, bitches, I fucking won a gold medal. He'll take that to the pub with his boys, and he'll be like, boys, gold fucking medal. Like, he's not going to give a fuck that he didn't deserve or he wasn't inadequate. He wasn't adequate. He
be drowning chicks.
Yeah, dude. Because he played the fucking game. Because he participated. He doesn't deserve that, but who gives a fuck? He has it. And so the same with women. You might feel like, I don't deserve it. It's like, who gives a shit? You'll get laid a lot because you fucking tried.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, that makes sense. No, I'll keep at it. I think it's just, as you say, just keep trying, and eventually, things will turn up in your favour.
Yeah, man. If you just
might not be Mr. Right, but you can be Mr. Right now.
Exactly. No, that's like my life motto. Hey, I'm not the best guy, but I'm the best guy you can get right this moment.
I'm the only guy talking to you.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. And you have no idea how much of a bonus that like in person, if you're talking to a woman, in her mind, she's like, holy fuck, who is this god? Like, why is he how's he doing this? Like, how the fuck is he hitting on me? And then on Tinder, even if you're direct and, hey, you're really cute, or hey, you're sexy, I'm Sid. What are you up to? Do you want to grab a drink? Let's grab a drink, have a flirt, see what happens. Let's go. Friday night, 6 p.m. If you're just direct like that, she's literally sitting there going like, why the fuck aren't all the other guys like this? Okay, I'm going to say yes. This guy deserves me to say yes because like I want to reward this kind of behavior. Like in her mind, she's going like, this is good enough that I want to say yes to this and reward him for this. So like I said, you'll fuck girls just because you tried. And on a date, if you have the balls to say like, hey, do you want to go back to my apartment and have a drink or something or watch a movie? She's going to, a lot of those girls will say like, sure. Because like, what the fuck else is she going to do on a Friday night? No one else asked her.
Yeah, exactly. No, thanks, man. Makes sense.
There's no way we're going to answer all your questions because it's already been like 2 hours. Okay. But
shit, man.
Let's do one more. I can pick this, or you can if you want. We did the driving one. We can do either the fear one. You asked about like conquering one of your 2 fears for 2022. Or we can talk about letting go, and you said like, do you have any personal advice on reliving like past anger and stuff like that? Or we can do one of the diet ones if you want one of those.
Could we do letting go, please?
Let's do it. So your question was, I've recently been reading the book Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender, which is a good book. I recommend that to everyone. Due to my past job that I've worked, I've found that I'm still dealing with a lot of traumas from my past. The techniques in that book are excellent, but I wondered if there was any personal advice you had for me. I often find myself reliving past experiences which cause feelings of anger. I'll often mutter swear words under my breath and zone out for extended periods. Ooh. Okay, so do you have like a specific bit of advice? Like, you just want like general advice on this one?
Yeah, please. Yeah, I'll be interested to see your perspective if you have any wisdom.
So that's there. So like muttering, swear words and shit like that. That's obviously like there's a part of you that's like I feel like I'm not fully in control, or I feel like I'm not being fully heard, or I feel like I'm being suppressed, and then you fucking let that out by going like fuck these assholes, like these fucking like it feels like the here's a better way of phrasing on that. It feels like the solution wasn't fully like solved.
Yeah.
Because if it is, if you feel comfortable, if there's a resolution, you don't feel like you need to swear under your breath. You're like, no, everything's okay. Like, why would I swear under my breath? I'm happy. So you said you've read No More Mr. Nice Guy?
Yeah.
Have you put into practice stuff from that and stuff from letting go? Like, do you actually... So I'll start again. In terms of like letting go, do you ever just lie there, like, I don't know, on the couch or on the bed or sit on the beach or go to a float tank or something? Do you ever just like lay there and go through this past trauma from your past? Like
Sometimes,
think through it?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Do you come up with solutions when you're doing that shit? Like what I mean by that is what I like to do is, okay, maybe let's not focus on the past trauma because you can process that and go through that. Let's do it more recent because that will be easier for you to work on, and then you can work on the past stuff as well. So let's say you have a moment where you're sitting there and you're angry and you use that, you express those swear words. You're like, fuck this guy, fuck this asshole. Go home or go to a place, like even go into the fucking bathroom or something and sit on the toilet and just like think about things. Go through and say like, why am I angry? What am I so afraid of? What am I worried about happening? Why do I feel like I don't have control? Usually if you ask the question of like, what am I so afraid of? Like a lot of shit will come up. You're not swearing at someone. Let's say, I don't know. Let's say your boss is rude to you and you swear under your breath. You're not just angry that your boss is rude to you. If you say to yourself, what am I afraid of? Shit will come up. Like maybe it's, I'm afraid no one in my workplace will ever respect me. And then you say, okay, and what happens if no one ever respects me? Then you say, okay, well then none of them will respect me. And then I'll end up doing all the shit jobs and I won't get a promotion and other people will get promoted, not me. And then I'll just be down here doing all the fucking shit work that I won't like. And I'll have to do that for the rest of my life. And 40 years from now, I'll fucking hate myself and I'll want to kill myself. Yeah. Like all of that shit will come up. And then what you do is you go, okay, how do I solve any of those problems? Like anywhere along the way, I'm allowed to solve that problem and stop that cycle from continuing. So let's say your boss is rude to you, and then that does result in other people not respecting you. You could then come up with 50 solutions to fix that. You could do a project really passionately, like, and just pour your heart and soul into it. Use all the initiative you have, go above and beyond, work extra hard on it, work extra time, overtime, unpaid overtime, and show it to your boss. And your boss will be like, holy fucking shit, dude. What the fuck is this? Amazing. Holy fuck, man. Thank more work like this, brother. This is amazing. Hey, everyone, look at what he did. Like that, you can do that. Or you could go to the boss and say, hey, boss, like, I'll be real. I really love working here. I'm really grateful for the job. It's great. The people are wonderful. I do feel like I'm not fully being like challenged. Like I feel like I'm kind of just getting the shit jobs. Is there any projects you could put me on right now? Is there any way I can get a promotion? Is there any way I can do extra like higher level shit? You can solve it that way. You could go to your workmates and say, hey, does the boss ever make you guys do shit work? And they might say like, yeah, all the time. And you go like, oh, fuck, I didn't even know that. I thought it was just me. And so that makes you feel better. Or you could go, no, this job fucking sucks. I'm going to start upgrading myself. I'm going to work on my resume. I'm going to look for work elsewhere. So I at least know I have other options. Even if I don't work somewhere else, I can at least see that this company would hire me, that company would hire me. I have options. So I don't have to sit here and feel like a victim. Basically, whenever you're doing something passive-aggressive or passive, like swearing under your breath, that's passive. What you want to do is smash your boss in the face. I'm not saying to do that, but that's what you want to do. Or if a girl rejects you, you want to say, fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. Like, that's what you want to say. Again, I'm not saying do that, but that's what you really want. You're suppressing that, and then your body's only answer to that is like, well, I'm going to do something passive aggressive. Your body's like almost like a naughty child. It's like, well, if you're going to tell me to shut up, then I'm going to say you're a stupid farty face, but I'm going to whisper it so you can't hear me. You're dumb. You're stupid and ugly. No one likes you. But you'll whisper that. And so that's the childish sort of part of you coming out. Listen to that and do something with that. Like, don't just suppress that and go like, I'm a bad person for muttering swear words under my breath. I need to, what people do a lot with anger is they go, I need to suppress that. You don't use the word suppress, but you go, I shouldn't be angry. I need to stop being angry. It's like, how the fuck is that solving the problem? You're angry. Your anger is justified. Your anger is for a reason. Use that. That's like the most, I did a podcast called something like your negative emotions are trying to tell you something like that. It was something like that. I basically said anger and frustration and sadness are a very, very, very useful piece of information. And if you block them off, you're doing that to your own detriment. If you say, I'm just not going to be angry, I shouldn't be angry, I need to be happy at work, like that's you just fucking suppressing shit. What you want to do is take that anger, go, why am I angry? What am I afraid of? Dig deep. And then go, what am I going to do with this anger? Because the worst thing you can do is suppress it and go, I shouldn't be angry. Because now you haven't solved the problem. You're just going to be angry next time. You're teaching yourself to be a victim, which is kind of the opposite of Jocko Willink's book, Extreme Ownership. You want to teach yourself the opposite. You want to teach yourself like, okay, whenever I get angry, whenever I hear myself muttering swear words under my breath, I need to go and do something about that. I need to go and do some meditating and process it. I need to go to my boss and say, boss, look, I'm unhappy, man. I've been wanting to say this, I'm unhappy. Or to a girl, you need to say like, I don't feel like you really want to see me. Like, you take ages to reply to text and shit. That's cool. Like, if you're not really feeling the chemistry or something, just let me know and we can go opposite ways. Or sometimes it will even just be accepting the circumstances and deciding you're going to go and do something else. So like a girl that doesn't reply to you or takes several days to reply to you and only meets you like once every 3 weeks, you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to see her once every 3 weeks. That's the expectation. That's what she's giving me. And then I'm going to go sleep with other girls in the meantime. So I'm not even going to tell her, I'm not going to try and change her behavior or my reaction to it. I'll just accept what it is and I'll go and do something else. Like a shitty work situation, sometimes this is the answer. Okay, my workplace kind of sucks. I'll just detach a bit. I won't work as hard. I'm not going to bust my ass. I'll just get the paycheck. I'll just collect the paycheck. If I get fired, I don't care. Like I'll go work somewhere else, and I'll kind of half-ass it at work, and I'll even just be like fucking around. I'll just sit there on my phone during work when the boss can't see. I did this at one job when I worked at a warehouse. I just sat there and wrote articles for my website. So that's an answer sometimes. Accept the situation and go and do other stuff like separate from that. So I guess the main thing I get across is like the anger is a good thing. It's trying to tell you something. Don't just sit there and go, the trauma from my past and the anger from my past, I need to just like get rid of that and let that go. Part of letting go, maybe he doesn't make this clear enough in the book, but part of letting go isn't just saying like, oh, I need to let go of it, I need to get rid of it. It's like, no. A lot of the time you have to fucking sit in it, and that's not comfortable. It feels awful. You have to go, why am I so fucking angry? Ugh, this feels awful. Like literally start punching a fucking pillow or something. Like clench your fist, sit there in the anger and go, fuck, why am I so angry? Why do I fucking hate my boss? Don't express that to your boss or to the girl or something, because that's not healthy. You yelling at someone is not healthy, but sit there in the anger and go, why do I fucking hate this person? What do I fucking hate about them? I've done that before. I've even had points where I'm like mad at Imogen and everything inside me wants to go, don't be mad at Imogen. Just don't be angry. You love her. She's adorable. She's the nicest person ever. Why would you be angry? I want to just like suppress it, but I'll sit there and I'll go like, no, I'm so fucking angry at her right now. I could fucking yell at her. I could fucking hit her. Like I'll let, obviously she's not there when I'm doing that. I make sure I do that like by myself. I go through all that shit. Like the anger is just there and it never lasts more than a minute or two if you let it consume you. So I'm saying like, let the anger come. You let it come and then it just kind of goes away. Like it just kind of stops. It runs out. Like you don't have infinite anger inside you if you let it happen. Yeah. And it kind of evaporates and then you go, oh, fuck, I'm not mad at Imogen. I'm mad at myself. Fuck. I'm mad at me. And then all the shit comes up and you're like, oh my God, it's me. Or like a girl rejects you, you get pissed off and you let the anger come and you go, why am I so fucking angry? Fuck this girl. Why? And all the shit comes up and then you go, oh man, I'm angry because she's the only girl I'm talking to right now. I haven't gone and talked to other girls. Like, I basically have one itis, air quotes, for this girl. Fuck. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. I'm mad at myself. It's not her fault. Like, she can't give me infinite time and attention. Like, fuck, she's busy. She's got other shit to do. I'm pissed at myself because I stopped going outside and talking to other women, or I stopped self-improving. Guys do this in relationships where they're in a relationship and they stop they stop hanging out with their mates and shit, and they'll stop doing their goals and they focus 100% on the woman. And then if there's an argument or a fight, it feels like their whole world is collapsing and they're pissed off at her. But if they're honest, if they just let the anger, like let themselves sit in their anger, again, separately from her, don't do that when she's in the room. Let the anger like come over them. And then they'll go, I'm angry because my mates have been telling me for 6 months that I'm whipped. My mates keep inviting me out to the pub and I keep saying, no, she won't let me. Oh my God. I'm embarrassed. I'm humiliated. My mates were right. They told me she's not a good girlfriend. They told me she's not good for me. I ignored them. I'm fucking angry at myself. I'm fucking ashamed and angry. And then you can do something with that. You can text your bros and be like, guys, I need a beer with you. I think I fucked up by not listening to you. And then you can fix that. But if you just say like, I shouldn't be angry, it's almost like you're guilt tripping yourself for being angry, which is like, the anger, like I said, is a useful tool. It's information. And why would you guilt trip yourself for useful information?
Yeah, sort of body telling you something, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good shit. It's like useful fucking information. Especially like every time. So what I want you to do is every time you have those swear words, like you mutter those swear words under your breath or you zone out for an extended period of time. Once you're rational, like come back and then go like, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad I muttered swear words under my breath because, like, now I have an opportunity. Okay, why am I swearing? Like, what's going on? What am I pissed about? What am I saying? Who do I want to swear at? If I could direct those swear words at someone out loud and there were no consequences, who would I do that? Like, what would I say to them? And you let that happen. Okay, I would say, fuck you, boss. You don't respect me. Oh, shit. I feel bad because I don't think my boss respects me. Fuck. That's not even up to him, though. Isn't it up to me to make my boss respect me? And if he doesn't, isn't it up to me to leave or to do something about it or to make him do something worth respecting? Fuck, I'm not mad at my boss. I mean, he's a dickhead, fine, sure. But like, even then, maybe he's not a dickhead. Maybe he's got his own shit going on and he can't deal. I don't know what's going on in his life. It doesn't fucking matter. It matters what's going on in mine. Shit. Oh, man. Maybe my boss isn't a cunt. Maybe I was the cunt all along. Like,
probably knowing me.
But yeah, no, this shit is one further thing I'll say is the more I've noticed this with a lot of my clients and people on the forums that I've recommended this book to, the deeper you go on like letting go and just really self-awareness and being aware of your own emotions and anger and shit like that.
Yeah.
It can be very easy to say, holy shit, I'm angry all the time, or I'm not self-aware enough, or I wish I could just relax more, or why am I getting pissed off all the time? It's like, good-looking loser said it best. You're not. You're not any less self-aware. You're not any more angry. You're not any more fucked up than anyone else. You're just focusing on it more. You're more aware of it. You care more about it. So when you start letting go, when you start focusing on your anger and learning to be okay with it, it might feel like, why am I so angry all the time? It's like, dude, you're not any more angry than the average person. You're just now trying to get to a point where you're almost never angry, which means you're going to tally up every time you're angry. The average person doesn't even know. Dude, half the people who in traffic, like they honk their horn at you, which happens all the fucking time. People are insane when they drive. That's part of the reason why I don't want to drive. But people will honk their horn all the fucking time. They will go home. They'll forget that they just did that. They'll forget they were just a psychopath to other human beings outside. Or they'll yell at someone in a restaurant. Or they'll get pissed at someone who's not wearing a mask or something. They'll yell at someone and then not even be aware that they just did that. Whereas you're keeping a tally every time you do something like that. So you go home and you're like, man, I was angry 15 times today. I have anger issues. I'm a psychopath. The average person is angry 30 times a day. They just forgot about all of them except for one or two. And so they'll go home and say, I was only mad twice today. I'm a good person. Sid's a bad person. Sid's angry all the time. He needs anger management. It's like, no, you fucking weird psycho. Like, you were angry 30 times. You just forgot about 28 of them. You yelled at Sid like fucking 15 times. Like, what's wrong with you? They're like, no, I didn't. No, I was just telling him that he was doing it wrong. I was just using my horn and my middle finger to show them that like they could drive a little better. I wasn't even mad. I didn't even care. It's like,
Oh man.
You're just more self-aware. Like you said, are more
Yeah.
self-aware. So it's not that you're more
Yeah.
angry.
Oh. No, yeah, I think you're right. I think I've just had an epiphany with that.
Yeah. This happens so much in self-improvement, dude. We're so
Yeah.
hyper-focused. I have one guy in my coaching program right now. He's going to, if he listens to this, he'll know exactly who I'm talking about, where he focuses on the way his mind works, and he's very self-aware about his own anxieties and neuroses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And half of his questions are, okay, so like my brain was doing this, like, is that fucked up? Like, is there something wrong with me? And I'll be like, no, dude, that's like a normal fucking thing. Everyone here, everyone in the group, put your hand up who goes through that. And everyone will go like, yep, me. And then we'll be like, dude, see, it's not. And he's like, oh shit. So I'm not fucked up. And it's like, no, you're just so focused on your own. You're trying to, it's like you're trying to optimize yourself, which is, I'm not even saying it's a bad thing. That's a good thing. But you're trying to get so optimized that you have to start going like make smaller and smaller increments or smaller and smaller changes to get like a little bit more optimized. And so at some point you're like, oh my God, look at this tiny little thing here that I got to optimize. Am I fucked up for this? And it's like, are you kidding? Dude, everyone else is like out there like screaming at strangers and driving like a psychopath and trying to fucking punch people on a Friday night, like doing psycho shit that you've never done for the last like 5 years. Like you're good. And your big insecurity or fear is like, sometimes I mutter swear words under my breath, or like this guy, you know, sometimes when I'm trying to go to sleep, I'll have some thoughts in my head and I can't fall asleep for like 20 minutes. And it's like, bro, some people have to take fucking sleeping pills because they can't sleep.
Yeah, she man takes me like an hour.
Yeah. Or people who start meditating and they get really good at it. And they're like, sometimes when I meditate, it takes me like 5 minutes to be able to disconnect and really just let my mind go. Like, is that fucked up? And you're like, no, that's amazing. Yeah. Or like you see it with getting laid and shit. Like, I've only gotten laid like once this week. Like, I'm a fucking loser. And it's like, the average guy's had sex with what, like 7 people in his entire life or something? Like, you've done that in the last like 4 weeks. Like, calm the fuck down. You're not that fucked up. You're good.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. This has been fun. We should probably wrap up. Just like you should wrap up every time you have sex with a girl.
Definitely, yeah. It's about 2:30 in the morning over here as well.
All right, go to bed. Before you go, is there anyone you would, or anything you would like to shout out?
I'll shout out to everybody on the forums, really. Now, Joe, Doom, Brady, and I guess Brady. Just all the guys who've been commenting on my log. Really appreciate keeping me going. So thanks to you as well. Thanks for having me. It's been an honour to speak to you.
This was fun. I appreciate you coming on. It's been a long time coming too. We booked this like a couple of weeks ago. So
thanks for working around me, man. I really appreciate it.
All good. Go to bed. Go wear condoms. Go wear condoms when you swear under your breath at your boss in traffic.
Good idea. Keep me reminded. Thanks, Andy, and have a good New Year if I don't speak to you before.
You too, brother. You too.
Cheers. Thanks, man. 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 Cheers.